Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review, The Last of Us, Season 1, the finale. Look for the light. And it's the review breakdown and review commentary, and we're going to talk all about this episode, talk about the ending, get your thoughts in. As I always say, call on in 781-990-8509. Get your thoughts about this finale. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy this season as a whole? Was this a good representation of the video game? And more importantly, jump on in the poll. Slap my poll. I wasn't going to say it. I almost said it. I almost said what I wanted to say, but I didn't really say it. Of course, we'll be joined by Joe Dirty Locks in a little bit. I'm sure he's picking up the crow and he'll be popping on in a moment or so. But we'll also be joined by a special guest later in the show as well when we get ready to start the recap. We'll be joined by a guest joining us on our recap tonight. He may or may not be in the live, but I'm not alone, of course. We got, as always, the We got the live chat in there. And like I said, maybe in fact our guest might be in the live chat. We got Luna. We got Slim. We got John Haymaker. We got the Walking David. We've got Iron Throne. We've got the wonderful Steph Snow. We got everyone's big daddy. We got Slim John Haymaker. We got Rishi. We got Atari Dad. We got the best, the beautiful, the amazing Iron Throne. We've got Brian Williamson. We've got Rakes in there, I believe I saw as well, and all sorts of friends popping on in and out, in and out. Slap that like button. Join the party. Join the fun. Join the silliness. I want to have some fun tonight. Okay, so let's keep going here. Let's keep going. We're just starting. We're just starting it out here, but we will keep going here. But yeah, get your calls in. Get your thoughts in. What a finale. I'm at a loss in a sense of how I felt about the finale from an episode standpoint. I'll have to get into that a little bit. Oh, hi everybody. Here I am. I'll have to get into that a little bit more when Joe gets in here, but I'm more thinking about the moralistic objections. The whole thing, did Joel do the right thing as I'm coming out of this episode? I'm just filled with that. I'm filled with Spock's words in my head. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. But then Kirk turns it around and says, no, Spock. The needs of the one outweigh all the motherfuckers because I care about you, Spock. And then I asked myself, what would Picard do? And he didn't even kill the Borg. Spoiler alert for all good things, I guess. Not all good things. Whatever episode that Geordi's friend comes in there. Hugh. Whatever episode Hugh shows up. Whatever. So you start asking that question. You start asking yourself, what would you do? What would Joe do? What would everybody do? I do like how Pedro had a really fun episode. I liked seeing him really go. I think I wrote in my notes, Joel went full Terminator in this episode. I mean, legitimately, it seemed like the scene from the Terminator when I'm spoiling another movie. We've started early and I'm already spoiling crap. But when the Terminator goes in and terminates a bunch of people, when Arnold comes into the police station and he just like destroys everybody, that moment reminded me of this scene, and I liked seeing Joel go full out in a way. I thought this episode it's short, but it did its job, and gave me the conclusion of the season I was anticipating, but I wasn't anticipating to feel so sad at the end. I was more thinking I'd feel more shock and awe, but instead I'm feeling like it's filling me with uncomfortable vibes. And I think that's what it's supposed to do, which is part of what makes something a good story, making you think, making you feel, and not necessarily knowing how you feel after you see the thing. I put in the poll. We have a poll up tonight, and the poll is: did Joel make the correct choices? We got yes, protect Ellie at all costs. No, needs the many outweigh the one. Yes, but he should have told Ellie, and it's more complex. Phil, shut the fuck up. I would say I'm not leaning your votes. Usually I don't say this, but I think if I'm voting here, I say yes, but he tells Ellie. I think the right thing to do is unknown in that situation, but I do think lying to her is not the right thing, and that's not going to work out good. But it's believable that he would do that because he's emotionally affected by the thoughts of not wanting to lose her. So he's thinking, and that's just total cheaters mentality. And Joe's here, I'll pop him in a second, but that's totally the cheaters mentality. Like when you're already in that deep, you're like, I might as well go all in here. If I'm gonna lie a little bit, I'm lying a lot, and thinking that she's not gonna forgive me for what I did, going full the T100 in the to the hospital. And really, again, what Joe was saying, and he'll tell me if he thinks I'm wrong about this when he pops in here in a second, but I want to make sure I can say it while he's not here. In this episode, he was going full out. They still cut away from it at times, but he was doing some cold-blooded sort of stuff where even people were like begging, "I'm okay, I won't bother you." Back when, no, you'll chase after her, dead. He was going full Terminator mode. But speaking of the Terminator, let's bring the Terminator of I don't know. It's not quite right. It's calling you like the Terminator of podcasting. But Joe Dirty Locks is here. What's going on, Joe?
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself? I think that's the real question. Is coming out. I gotta fix your camera and stuff. Coming out of this episode, and the biggest question is, did they do the ending justice for you coming out of this episode? Was this episode long enough for you? Should they have done more? Was it fast, slow, just the right speed? Were you as into it knowing that you knew what was coming? What are some of your thoughts on this episode tonight, Joe?
Okay. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was done really well. The one keynote I wanted them to hit, personally, I wanted to see those fucking giraffes. I thought they were going to skip it. They didn't. I was happy about that. I enjoyed the beginning. The added Ellie mom shit. That was nice. Which I was surprised I was going to enjoy that. I was surprised that came out. They didn't need anything more than what they gave us for that. Yeah. I don't know if I really answered your question there, but
no, I mean you sound like your tone is a lot like mine. You really like the episode, but were you high? Maybe this is a weird situation where I think you're going to be higher on this episode than I am. I thought
once we get into it, you might be like,
I thought the episode was poignant. I thought the ending, the choices, but for some reason I wasn't as engaged as I thought I should be in most of the episode. And I don't know if that's because the character of Ellie was disengaged through most of the episode, and that's kind of the point. So I was supposed to feel that way a little bit, but I didn't feel I thought it was competently done, well done. I felt the payoff in the way I should feel the payoff. But I feel like a whiny bitch a little bit because something about it I wasn't.
I know what was missing, Phil.
I wasn't as glued as I could have been. The giraffe scene, by the way, was my favorite scene in the entire episode. I was me. I'm gonna get downvoted. I guess
there was a couple of things missing. There's a couple of things I really liked. No bloaters. They haven't they didn't have to fight anything more than I don't know. I'm disappointed with as far as I'm concerned, this really could have been one of the things that makes The Last of Us is the clickers, the runners, the bloaters, the stalkers, all of it. And
before we go
that's all missing. That's all missing.
I'm sorry for changing things around here because I usually am not like this. So let's pause for a second.
And I gotta say, that's a big part of this last action sequence.
It is. So this end scene,
not in the hospital action sequence, just before that, coming out of the sewers and shit.
They sort of yada to a certain extent, but okay, what I really loved about this episode, I want to say a couple of people, Monkey Monk, Wolf, Spare, we see Nola Boy. Keep your questions in. We have a Q&A up in the live chat. Click on the Q&A and throw a question in there, and I'll see it in case I miss it. Going up, you can always call in. We got a bunch of voicemails we'll get to in a moment here. 781, get your thoughts. 781-990-8509. Joe, the things I really liked about this episode, Pedro Pascal destroyed it in this episode. The bond between him and Ellie was really true and believable. Ellie was a even more believable character today in this episode, with the way she was handling everything and just seeming like more rounded. I didn't know it wasn't in the game. I really like the stuff with her mother. I know that is Ellie. And I thought the actress did a kick-ass job in that in that part. And I really, but I just didn't buy that she could be related to Ellie. No, I'm kidding. But she was really great.
I'll tell you this.
She should have been Ellie in a weird way. Was there any way they could have made her Ellie? Because she's
dude,
good.
They did make her Ellie.
I know, I'm kidding. I'm just
in the game, because at the beginning, right, when she's running and she's in labor and all that shit, like, and if you shut your eyes, every sound she makes is fucking Ellie. Like, to me, like, I was like immediately thinking, oh my God, this is Ellie. Yeah. That's Ellie. Like,
I haven't even played.
That's the voice I've been listening to for the last 6 years. Every moan, squirm, squeak, fucking noise that comes out of that woman's head, you have heard a dozen times in that game, because of how much they go.
Is her name Ashley Johnson? Is that
Ashley Johnson?
Okay, and I gotta give
it is like every second of her audio was screaming in my ear, Ellie.
Joe, I'll take you one further. Not even knowing she was Ellie, I just thought. I mean, I knew she was Ellie, and even without playing the game, I just thought it was a good performance too. Like as a full on body, she did better than Troy did. Troy did great. Love you, Troy. You're one of the best voice actors in the world, and you were really a good, serviceable in your scene. Ashley was really like standout. Like, I hope she gets roles because of this little bit part, and this can lead to other on-camera work too, because she was I thought she was really did the part really well, and
she was good. She was passable, but as far as just really the audio of her, like, just pulled me
I feel you
right back.
I would say I would go a step higher than passable on her. I thought she was great. I like how it wasn't.
She was certainly much better than Kathleen.
We'll try, hopefully not get to that tonight. I also like how it wasn't just the cold open. We do the cold open and then we come back in with the scene with her and Marlene. So we got none. You get none of that in the game. You get none of the backstory.
None of that.
Did Marlene at the end say the same thing to Joel? Like I was there when she was born.
Yeah.
And okay, so they were taking it from something. Okay.
Yeah, most of this episode is ripped right from the fucking game. Of course.
God fucking damn it! I'm sorry.
There's parts that aren't, but most of it is, and it's condensed, and there's a shit ton of action missing. The action we did get was really good, and there's a few points in that action that I was really happy about.
Joe,
there's a few points of a lot of things in this episode that I was kind of happy about.
I don't want to interrupt you, Joe, but I need to stop the presses, because I didn't know this. You probably already knew this, but people in the live chat are saying this. I did not connect that. I actually grew up in the time period where Growing Pains was like the coolest thing on television for me, because I wanted to be, because even though Kurt, whatever, is an idiot, like at the time he was like an actor.
Yeah, that's Growing Pains chick.
Yeah, that's great. I did not know that was Chris.
We talked about that.
No, we have not.
Yes.
No. I was too drunk to remember. I did not. I honestly did not connect the dots.
Okay.
That have you ever gone back and watched Growing Pains and be like, oh wow, Ellie, that's Ellie's voice. Fuck.
Yeah, that's she's like a fucking like super child.
Yeah, she has a big like red hair, like carrot top size red hair in the show.
Yeah.
And so she was on it at the same time Leonardo DiCaprio, I believe, was on it. I think Chrissy was already on the show, but interesting where you could play the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon game with her and Leonardo DiCaprio in like one step you get from her to Jonah Hill. Anyways, so Walking David is rumored to be Ellie's father in a future season. Studio, cheers, boys. Amazing to see we got to the end of the season. Thanks so much for the after show and for the series. I miss the monsters a little bit, but the show has become bigger than just the monsters, says Regime. Too many monsters would remind non-gamers of The Walking Dead. They had to separate themselves.
No.
I tried to slip past that. Sorry, here we go, Joe.
No. too many big bad guys that aren't fucking evil walkers.
Too many Negan Kathleen's.
Right, like, come on now.
Gareth, other eating people. Okay, so Lux says, Phil, don't worry about feeling conflicted. It's been 10 years and I'm still conflicted with Joel's decision. I always hated that he lied. I may not agree with Joel in some ways, but I do understand. And I think that's what it comes down to, Joe, with this episode. I'm not crazy with it because the ending has me feeling uncomfortable, and that's the goal of this ending, to make me feel uncomfortable, to make me feel like it's not there's too much up in the air. There's no concluding point. The lie's hanging out there, just like in life when you're in a cheating situation or you're in a lying situation, like lying to your best friend or lying to your son, or like in a situation with my mom to me or something. Like when you have a parent lying to somebody else, it's just, you have to go on. You go on. The lie exists, and then you move on from that point. Sometimes the person that got lied to has to accept that they don't buy the truth, but you just have to be, I need this person in my life. I just have to accept this promise. And the one thing I guess I didn't buy is, and maybe you can help me with this a little bit, that I didn't buy, did Ellie know Joel was lying because he was poker telling it too much, because he was being too nice and confident, or just because she knows he was a killer? And
nope, that's played the same way, dude. That's played the same way.
Does Ellie just magically know?
No, she doesn't know. She has no fucking clue.
She
when she wakes up, the first thing she says is, "They were fire drugs." Like what? Like she doesn't. She like Marlene said, she had no clue it was coming. We just gave her some meds. She fell the fuck asleep, and that's it.
No, I'm talking about like where at the end of this episode, she says, "Are you lying to me about what happened there and stuff?"
Right. Ellie has no fucking clue. Like, this is the girl that thought her doing a blood brother shake with this kid that got bit was gonna work. Yeah. Right. This is the girl who shot antibiotics directly into the wound. Like, she really has no clue what it's going to take, that it's going to take cutting her fucking brain open.
Do you think she thinks Joel? Do you think she thinks Joel is lying to her?
Yes.
Yeah, and me too. And I'm not sure
But she doesn't know why. Like, listen. However many months it took to get Ellie there, there would have been. Marlene would have known in Boston that there were others.
Yeah.
They have radio, right? That's how they knew that they were getting her to that place, right? Like,
and Joe,
they have communication set up, so it wouldn't have been like. So there's parts of it she doesn't buy, but she can't. And there's and Joel ain't going back with her, and she's fucking naked in a car. She doesn't have, not naked, but in a hospital, Johnny. She doesn't have any of her fucking clothes and gear and any of that shit. So it was a fucking quick leave. Like, this girl ain't fucking stupid.
I mean,
like really, Joel? Like, everything was all good, but
everything is We just
we're in a car halfway across the state.
I mean,
where we were.
He did say there was raiders.
Yes, he did.
He did.
Right.
That was his plan in that situation.
Yeah.
He did say they have raiders. Okay.
Yeah. And they took your shoes.
And all your stuff. We'll get your new stuff.
Right. Like,
when it gets to this kind of thing, you just said something. So there's been others too. You said they've tried with two or three other people or something like that before Ellie that had some sort of.
Well, he said that. He said there were others.
I know he said that, but
and others, and there's no cure. There's nothing they can do.
But is any part of that true? Did I miss a part where Marlene said there have been others we've tried?
True.
Okay, so
none of that is true.
So she is legitimately the only one.
She is legit the only one that we have ever known of up to this point.
Up to this point,
because no spoilers.
No spoilers tonight. Yeah. That's next week. Okay, so first of all, I want to say a huge thank you to Tracy G for welcoming to the channel support with our dime bag of support. Thank you so much for dropping that dime in here and helping us out and helping us keep grow. Let's get into the live chat. Ellie's be like, Joel is sus. Yeah, Joel is sus. Joel is very sus, and I guess that's more.
He's not sus.
That's more my question. But again, okay,
I don't tell her the truth there either. I don't say
fuck that.
Yeah, because no. Here's the thing.
But
Here's the
Joe,
reason.
you're missing.
Joel is not what? Okay, sorry.
No. Keep. Just how does Ellie know? How does she? You say he's not sus. Then how does she have this read on him? Is my question. How is she sure he's lying? You're sure she's lying? You're sure she thinks he's lying?
No. I think okay. He's.
How does
suspect,
she know that?
Right? She does. Listen, Raiders. Okay, but we're in the Firefly. There's still a lot unanswered about all these highly armed Fireflies at this fortified hospital. Just there's enough off in how someone answers something. Okay, like when you answer and you have I don't know. She spent enough time around him to know that there's something off in the way he's
right. That's what I was saying. Like,
answers.
is it because he's being too nice? Is it because he's being too bright? Is because he's just saying everything's okay, everything happened okay, it's fine. And I think in some ways he's trying a little bit too hard for this point. I almost thought at one point in this episode she was gonna turn to him and go out like, "Stop talking to me about your fucking daughter. I don't compare me to her. Stop this shit." Like she had that look on his face when he kept bringing up Sarah a couple of times. Anyways, Joe, let's get to a couple of voicemails tonight. I missed Tracy G's voicemails from last week, which I will.
Oh yeah.
Which I will play last week's voicemails, but I want to play her tonight voicemails first.
No, play her last week ones first.
No, we're gonna play tonight's.
No, we
first.
need to hear the last week's.
No. We need to hear tonight's first, and then we're gonna go back to last week's. So, and Tracy G just became a channel member. Thank you so much, Tracy G. We also have a bunch of other voicemails we'll get to tonight as well. She doesn't want to know the truth. Yeah, and I mean, that's part of it too, and kind of what I'm hinting at. And I thought that part of this, I'm getting on things I really liked about this episode. I thought that stuff was played really well and really true to life in situations. People do that all the time where you just have to accept it. You know someone's lying to you, but they convince you enough. You don't really have everyone's dead that could give you a possible answer. So you can't help but believe them word for word for what happened until you get other information. Killmonger says she knows it's weird because he took her out while she was still unconscious, and it just doesn't make sense to her. Carol says, agree with Joe that Ellie knew something was off with Joel. She doesn't want to know the truth, says Wolf. Joseph says Joel is totally sus and is clearly lying about the situation. So is Joel a bad poker player, Joe? Do you think?
Yes, but this lie is. I would have lied too. Listen, Ellie was supposed to die in her mind back at the fucking mall, right?
Yep.
And this is what they've come across the country to do: fucking all or nothing, right? There is no half measures here, no halfway. We're finishing this. And as far as if it meant her life to save, that nobody else would have to fucking die from this shit, she would have done it.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question that I was going to ask you, Joe. Would Ellie have sacrificed herself?
She would have, but what she doesn't understand and what Marlene is fucking can go fuck herself about, and Mr. fucking Scalpel in the room can go fuck himself about.
It's not 100%.
Yeah, it's nowhere near 100%. There's not even you're like, maybe this hasn't been tried. Maybe in all the entire outbreak, no other babies in the last 20 years have been bitten and lived through it.
It reminds me.
Maybe this will work. Like, maybe this will work.
It reminds me of like Dark Ages medicine. Maybe if we drill a hole in their head, and,
right?
maybe like, it will unleash the spirit.
If we just take that gland out, we can take what's in there and synthesize it.
If we eat that
high-tech equipment we still have left in the fucking world that's still highly tuned and working in this fucking piece of shit, fucking burned out, fucking dirty ass hospital we're about to go cut this poor girl open in. Like,
let's slurp on her brain fluid. Maybe that will cure us and cure everybody else.
Like, it's ridiculous to think about.
And that's my thing. If we bring this to you here, Joe, if it's between, and I know Katie, we'll say the Crow here.
I kill it. Yeah,
she would say I'd kill her. She'd sacrifice herself for the cure if it was 100%. I know Katie would. So, but would Katie sacrifice herself for the cure if it was 50%? Would you let her do it if it was 50%? Would you let her do it if it was 25%? Or not let her, but would you advise her? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said let.
Yeah, she's an adult woman. She can make her own decision.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like would you advise her?
I would be crushed and devastated. She could do whatever she felt she needed to do. Here's the thing: if they were like, dude, your cat has been bitten and it didn't turn, and every other cat in the world has fucking turned that's been bitten, I'm killing every motherfucker in that hospital. They ain't cutting my kitty's head.
Yeah,
open.
They're not getting Lotus. Sorry,
I ain't
they're
like,
not
they
getting
can go
Lotus.
fuck them. They ain't taking my kid. Like, my kid doesn't get the choice to make that decision. Not until they're like, Ellie wants to be 25, 20, 21, 25.
She's
when the
19,
fucking brain
right?
is undeveloped. No, yeah, she is now. But like in this universe, no, she's fucking 14 or 15, 16, some shit like that. No, she ain't making that decision right now. She ain't, 14. Yeah, no, she don't make that decision. I kill every motherfucker that even puts that idea in their head.
But I have
you know
to.
What? And that doctor's dead now. So guess what?
It's one
there it is.
That's one less
who
doctor.
the fuck you gonna get to go do it now, Marlene? I killed that motherfucker.
You should have saved your fucking doctor.
That was a problem I had too. That's still a problem. I have a problem with that right now. I have a problem with that scene up there in that room.
When he goes and kills everybody and kills the doctor and stuff.
He does not kill those two fucking nurses. I kill those two nurses every fucking time.
He killed everybody.
Nobody in that room lives.
I don't think anyone in that room lived.
Nobody in that building lived.
I don't think anyone in that building lived. He didn't. He did not leave. He did not leave.
Turn around, he says, and then he picks her up and he walks out.
And
he leaves those two nurses alive.
I'm sure he came back and killed them.
I kill everybody in that room every fucking time. None of them live. None of them. They all die miserably with Molotovs. Sometimes they die with fucking with nail bombs. Sometimes
at least you're creative about it.
I beat them to death, but every fucking time, they fucking die. You don't get to. You ain't gonna. Oh yeah, that's okay. I'm a good person. I'm just gonna let the doctor cut this poor girl's head open. No, you die. You die. Everybody in that. I don't give a fuck what your skill set is. If your skill set isn't kill the fucking madman that just burst into the operating room, you die.
Dead.
Vivisect a child on a gambler's chance.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were saying,
Phil,
Katie.
Phil, I got an idea.
That's exactly
Everybody's got the flu. Let's kill them and burn all the bodies.
Yeah, that will work, right?
Right. That's you argued for that in fucking at the prison, man.
Joe,
you were on board with that shit.
Someone's got anxiety.
That gamble don't work, man.
Joe, someone's got anxiety. Let's drill a hole in their head.
Let's bleed them.
Let's electrocute their brain. Maybe it will help.
Oh,
it might help. It might help. You never can't. It's gonna make me feel better.
Wouldn't it make working against this disease? Let's try drinking bleach, man. That'll clean it.
It might work. Joe, wouldn't it make you feel better to electrocute my brain to shut me up? You know, wouldn't that make you feel much better?
No.
Yes.
Never.
Ever.
Like that. Like I still don't understand. Like, okay, doctor, who like got his degree at this point. 20-something years ago, all like the furtherance of science at that point ceases. It stops. Like,
in fairness,
and then starts to regress. How many people out there are building combustible engines? How many people out there are building computers? How many people out there are building any kind of chemical test strips or
Joe,
keeping any kind of equipment with maintenance and shit, like, and the information and the skills to fix and to build gets lost every time one of these people fucking dies and can't pass on their fucking.
I know. I'm not going to blame Joel 100% on this one.
Sadistic homicidal maniac that stole an ID and a degree to hang on his wall.
Yeah, it could be. He could be a fake fuck too. He could be a fake fuck. But I do put a little. I do put a little blame on
the moment society falls. I was a doctor.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely a doctor. I'm a doctor.
Don't shoot me. I was a doctor. I wasn't the best doctor, but I was
an optometrist, but I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. But believe me, I'm fine. But
you don't want to have been the contractor or the lawyer.
Now, the doctor, though, has to take some responsibility for what happened to himself. He brings a knife. He brings a knife to a gunfight.
He has to take 100% of the responsibility. Like, what kind of fucking idiot? I won't let you take the
with the knife to the
Not
assault
even,
rifle.
it's a scalpel, dude.
To an
It's
assault rifle. Like, come on, you're playing rock, paper, scissors in that fight. Your paper's getting burned. That's like going, I got paper, I got flamethrower. You don't,
brings a box cutter to a fucking gunfight.
sorry, buddy, just don't do that. We got a super chat donation from Tracy G. It says, and who's to say that doctor is not, this is what Katie was saying.
Right?
Who's to say that
Like,
doctor's not an OBGYN? Doctor, what the fuck's, what's he know he's fucking doing? Tracy
I was
G,
a
thanks so much.
dentist, but I'm going to tell everybody I was a fucking Casciovardius of cardiovascular.
We all know what you were trying
surgeon,
to say.
And a neurological surgeon as my that's what I moonlight as to bring in some extra bucks on the weekend.
As David says, who will be joining us in a little bit. Everyone step back. I'm a dentist. I'm a dentist. Okay, so let's listen to Tracy's voicemail. Let's hear what Tracy thought of this episode, Joe. Let's go.
Hey, Phil and Joe. Hey, chat. This is Tracy G calling from Chicago. So I just wanted to give my thoughts on this episode. So for this episode with Joel and Ellie, I actually, honestly really thought that this episode was probably, I would say, the worst episode of the season. I'm really.
I love Tracy. We're playing the whole message. I just want to say a huge thank you before it scrolls by to Lux for.
I can't wait to hear why, and I can't wait to go like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, we got a lot, and keep calling on in. We got a bunch of voicemails. We'll get to all your voicemails tonight. 781-990-8509. You got a message for me, Joe. David will be joining us later. You have a question for David, jump on in the chat right now. Let's listen to the rest of Tracy G's message.
At this point, just not a fan of the show. I think it's the worst adaptation. And we have some pretty sucky ones, including that Resident Evil stuff that came out on Netflix this season. But the reason for that is because this show was just, I have no idea. I think it was a drama, not a very good drama.
Agreed.
No one wants to see a man and a little girl just taking travels. I'm sorry. It just wasn't that good.
Holding hands, skipping down the road, doing nothing.
What was that, Joe?
What they do? They held hands and skipped down the road, as far as I'm concerned. They did nothing. They had no trials. They had no tribulations. They had about 30 seconds of bad time in Boston, and then the next bad time we don't. Then all the way across the country without a single incident worth telling us about. 5 minutes and fucking here and there, but road trips road trips are far worse. Dude, you ever drive with anybody down to fucking just 4 hours to New York? Fuck, that's annoying as hell. Like you're gonna travel with this dude that you don't know, and none of your regular just travel bad shit. Never mind apocalypse bad shit. Really, it was a grown man and a little girl skipping down the fucking road, and absolutely nothing
whistling fucking Dixie,
except some weird fucking woman twisting her mustache in the fucking middle of the street.
This was all so you could bring up Kathleen again, Joe.
No, because that happens twice. The only difference is aside from the one influential moment of Joel beating someone up, and we don't even know if that dude dies. We don't even really know if that dude that he beat up outside of Boston dies. But he does brutally pound him in the face for a little while, right? And breaks his hand doing it. But
okay,
then Ellie does exactly that to this other guy last week, and we're supposed to believe that's the one influential moment that they actually have between each other. Yay, we skipped across the country. Now that we're finally here and out of danger, let me teach you how to shoot a gun, which you'll never use.
Now,
which you will not use for anything. Why was the point of that? Why did he taught her, and he taught her 3/4 of the way through their fucking journey how to shoot a goddamn fucking rifle, right? And didn't even finish teaching her, okay? And then She never uses a fucking rifle, did she? Did she? Wait, maybe
No, she
did.
held it once.
Did she? Okay,
And no,
once
she
held the
and
rifle?
she
Yeah,
hunted the deer or
Okay,
the whatever.
Tracy's right. Let's finish up with Tracy. Tracy,
so-
good job. Good point.
Joe, you're such an asshole.
Good point.
I'm honestly thinking at this point they really did need to have a writer or a stunt
Joe, you're.
guy or just somebody to actually focus on the action sequences throughout this series. And it seems as if they spent all of HBO money on the
You.
production and
Not you, Tracy. I was giving Joe the
Nope,
finger.
nope, they blew it. Watch the beginning of Cannibal the Musical. They blew it all on the fucking tube bloater scene.
Oh, Sprinkle Day again, Joe.
the way that the show looked, which was really awesome. I'll give, credits where it's due.
Yes.
The show looked beautiful. It looked just like the game. Unfortunately, it was not the game, which is what I came
Aside
for. I
from
thought
what
I
was
was going to
exactly
see
the game.
the actual.
Tracy, it wasn't the game. Aside from all of the scenes that were perfectly word for word, cut for cut, shot for shot, ripped directly from the game, and there
But
was
Joe,
quite a bit of that.
Were those your favorite parts of the season, or
Yeah.
or were some of your? But I'll challenge. I'll challenge you. Some of your favorite parts were some of the added stuff. The first scene with the news guys, the stuff with Ellie's mother. Ellie's mother tonight, I think, is some of your favorite stuff.
That shit had me in tears. That shit had tears coming.
What, Ellie's mom?
Ellie's mom, but not for what you're thinking.
Hearing Ellie's voice, the real
hearing
Ellie's,
dude,
hearing the real Ellie's voice. Yeah, no, I hear you.
I'm telling you, that shit fucking had me.
No,
and I'm listening to it, and I'm thinking and I'm watching, and I'm listening to what she's saying to this fucking baby, and I'm like, oh my god, she's talking to herself.
Ellie's talking to Ellie.
It's fucking great.
Oh, nostalgia bukkake.
It was a lot.
Nostalgia
bukkake.
bukkake.
Oh my god, that shit was fucking intense, and it had me
as,
welling up.
As I said, as
so I gotta say I liked it.
As the philosopher Rich Evans once said, it's nostalgia bukkake, but it was a good moment of it. It was like, oh, give me that Ellie nostalgia all over my face. It feels great. I love it. But I feel you there, Joe. It's as cheesy as how I'm going to feel. Spoiler alert, I guess, for the new Flash movie when we see Michael Keaton as Batman again. It's gonna be like just hearing him say the voice. Him, I'm Batman. Look in the trailer saying I'm Batman. You're like, oh, nostalgia bukkake.
Dude, okay,
it works.
For that matter, the Spideyverse.
The Spideyverse shit. Yeah, with the Garfield and not
with all three of them. I thought,
and Into the Spider-Verse was good too. The cartoon movie was the animated movie was good too.
I watched that for the first time last week.
Don't hate on that movie. I'll kill you.
I'm not hating on it. There's no hate for it. It was good.
You saw the live action one first though, right?
Yeah.
I saw it the other way around. I think that makes a difference. Because but anyways, we're not here to talk about Spider-Man. That'll be a different stream. We're gonna go back to doing that.
No, man, that's serious. Her voice, every squeak, every grunt, every moan, everything that came out of her mouth, right down to even the pick up this kid and fucking kill me, was listening to Ellie say it. There was no. That could be I've heard so many hours of that chick's fucking voice saying the dialogue to this game.
I still can't get over that it's Chrissy from Growing Pains.
Yeah, and even still, even saying that, even for these moments that I heard her actual voice tonight in the episode, right? Even though I heard that later in the episode when I'm watching
Bella.
Yes. She does such a great job.
She's great as Ellie.
That character.
Yep.
Really, it's hers as well.
To go to Tracy G's criticisms notwithstanding, I would say not just the look of this show. I'd say 99% of the time the characterization and the acting on this show is top notch as well.
I gotta say that for the most part, the look of this show the way the streets look, the way the moss grows, or the way the things are just decayed, the way the cars are burnt out, the way the posters on the walls look, the way the graffiti looks. Like in tonight's episode, opening shot, she's running across the field and they show the farmhouse.
Dude, that looked so awesome. That looked so cool.
Did you notice the firefly symbol?
Yep, I did.
Right,
Like in that moment,
like little things like that. Like you might notice that was a big one on the silo.
But it's in it, and it came back later too. And I thought this episode was good with that type of stuff. And we're gonna get back to Tracy's message in a second. But John Haymaker makes a great point about Joel. He killed 17 Czechoslovakians. That guy was a roofer. With the poly walnuts there. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Best director, best picture.
I do like his smirk, his smell ball, so to speak.
I like that. I like it. Again, I think Pedro was adorable in this episode.
Oh, the moment he turns around on those steps, shit gets fucking real.
Yeah. And we're gonna get into that in a second.
And I'm telling you, if you liked the way they did that, we should have had so much more.
That was amazing. That was finally seeing the Joel that was the Jack Bauer Joel. That was the thing that we've seen a little bit hints here and there, but we haven't seen it go full on. It reminds me of watching the original X-Men movie run, and for some reason you never got that one scene where Logan is just ripping people up with his claws until much later in the later movies. They were always like held back a little bit. But I do think I'll give this episode credit for not holding back on the Joel stuff in this episode. He killed everybody, and it was awesome. So let's play the rest of Tracy's message.
Yeah, video game.
Atari Dad said, and I got your tweet. I will definitely watch that when the show's over. There's a funny outtake from the game, Joel and Marlene's actors. Oh no, you sent me a different thing, but definitely check that out with Joel and Marlene's actors as well. A different video that's going on for outtakes, which we will, of course, because now we have a whole. Hopefully it's just a year, but probably 2 years till the next season.
And being brought to live TV, I did not see that. Outside of episode 5, this show sucked big time. Did Joel make the best decision for Ellie at the end? He absolutely did. There's no threat. There's no infected in this show. All of the infected is left in Kansas. They're nowhere near Kansas. Tommy is nowhere near Kansas. So F that. Why would I let you kill this girl when there's no threat in the show? We have been strutting around for 9 weeks or 2 years in the show. I'm not sure, but we've been strutting around and there's no freaking infected around. No. So you don't need to kill Ellie for that. You can keep her alive and just stay away from Kansas City. I'll have like my whole complete season breakdown next week when you do the show. But yeah,
and Tracy continues here.
Tracy G from Chicago again, part 2. So yeah, the music at the end through the montage with Joel just killing everybody, that was trash. That right there cemented my fact that they really needed someone to actually focus on the action sequences throughout.
I actually have that as a note that I didn't like the music in the action scene, but we'll get to that later. But
okay, so this
is it from the game?
Yes, because it is so much more kind of dramatic, and it's only played in a couple of parts for it, like because the action sequence to get there, you have to fight a lot more guys than what Joel fucking goes through. It's like, what does Joel kill? Maybe like we see him actually shoot down 6 people, and like maybe we see him walk by those bodies and or other bodies, but like you fight through a good like 30 fucking people and some of the tougher kind of soldiers that you meet. Like this is like the first time you see the M16 that the AR-13 or 14, 15 or whatever the fuck gun it is that he picks up off the ground. Like is till like these couple of scenes here, like it's it's a lot bigger, so it's a lot more dramatic. So and there's a chase getting out of the building. It's not as easy. Once you get her in the game, you're hurt a little because, you you basically just took on an army and you're still not quite recovered. Right. So even after the cutscene, because you cutscene into like whatever, picking her up right after you kill all the doctors or whatever. And Now you have to get out of the building, and there's still like another couple dozen fucking heavily armed fucking fireflies coming after you. So you're moving extra slow because you're carrying a fucking girl. That music is playing because she's passed out in your arms. You're injured. You're trying to get out of the fucking building, and you just make it to the elevator in time. And when the elevator opens, Marlene's at the fucking bottom. So the music plays really well in the game.
Right, but
not so much here.
In the show, yeah, in the show it needed a remix with a beat or something.
It needed fucking some like
it needed
some heavy bass and some
it needed a Fifth Element opera breakdown with the beat, like where it was just a little fast. If they wanted to make it like quick, like Joel kills everyone quick because he's just so
or
much.
If they wanted to make it look like all those things you've heard and that we haven't given you in throughout the season of what you've missed, what we've taken from you, it should have been a lot more operatic. It should have been like, watch Joel just like, and he does, like, you even see it. They even say, we want you to smirk at the camera now. Okay, you're kind of happy because you're finally about to be in the element that you haven't let out in a while. You're gonna kill everybody in this building, and you're gonna love
I'm
it.
with Rishi in the chat. I'm with Rishi in the chat, Joe. I need the Terminator music.
Joel we need played a beta meld, a neural meld,
like Ride of the Valkyries or Banshees or whatever it is, like from like Apocalypse Now when the helicopters are coming out. Like, yeah, that's what they needed. That's what they fucking needed. For like, as soon as Joel turns around and starts marching back up the stairs, the fucking trumpets start fucking blaring and shit.
This wasn't the same Joel. I have no reason to believe that him and Ellie is this just perfect duo.
Agreed.
Like, no. I'm actually pretty glad from your idea last week. I heard you guys mention that she will be recast. For sure, looking at it, she will have to be recast for season.
Maybe we said that. Maybe we said that drunk, but
she
won't be recast. I think we said
There's no way they recast Bella Ramsey. She's 19 years old currently.
Yeah,
they're wearing like chest straps and everything to keep how mature she is.
And they already said it out loud. They're not
going to recast her. She's going to be able to play an older 19, 20-year-old for the 21, 22-year-old for the game, however old she's supposed to be. It's going to work real well. I think they're definitely not going to recast
So
her.
We'll talk more about that next week.
Season 2, so that may be a plus, and hopefully they'll do some better casting. But, yeah, so far, yeah, I'm just really disappointed. It's actually kind of making me think, was this really a good story? Like, was this really a good story?
Yes.
Now I am blaming... I'm going to actually not blame Naughty Dog, but I'm actually this time going to blame the video game community for the people like myself who played the game.
No.
The message is,
people doing
Joe,
essays
give it 20
talking
seconds.
about this was the best story. They did essays about this, and this is just the best ever. No, this is not. They wanted to focus on the story instead of the action.
10 more seconds.
And it completely ruined this adaptation. So that's all I have to say until next week. Thanks, guys.
A voicemail.
Yeah,
want to talk. I'm trying to talk to her. Okay, so no. It is a great story, and the challenge here isn't to wonder whether or not the story was good and who got it wrong, when and why. The trick in the challenge here is going to be who can come out with all of this content here from the show that was good, the cutscenes that are ripped directly from the game that have been now done out in live action, plus the other really good parts, the panel from earlier in the season and the Jakarta from earlier in the season and maybe the Ashley's baby birth, maybe episode 3, but, take out a lot of the other shit and put in just like clips from like the video game action sequences which show us Ellie and fucking Joel actually bonding and Ellie learning how to actually be a badass. You do those things together, you hook that up, you edit that together, and that'll show you that this story really does a great job getting done what it needs to get done. But if you don't do that, if you take out all the moments about Joel and Ellie and fill them with We want to really explore the other characters and give you character development on them and tell you a little bit about their backstories and then condense it all down from 15 hours roughly down to, this less than 9 hour thing. A lot's going to be missing. A lot's going to be taken out. A lot is lost from the nuance. Like, listen, you may walk across or drive across country with someone, but chances are, if you don't already love that person before you fucking leave, you're going to fucking hate that person when you get to where you're going. However, if you start out that journey to go across country and you have to murder your fucking way and save each other's asses the whole fucking way across the country for 3 months on foot, like, you're going to love each other when that fucking shit is over. You're going to trust each other beyond fucking any kind of doubt, and you're going to have a bond that is beyond anything. But if you remove all that and just make it these two skip together across country, are you fucking kidding me? Joel would have beat Ellie to death with one of his fucking bloodied, calloused, fucking sloughed skin fucking boots across the fucking head and buried her body and walked his ass back to Boston or to fucking Wyoming.
Joe, I don't want to get
way the fuck before he got to Kansas City.
I don't want to get into a Joe rant, but you sound like Randall in Clerks 2 talking about the Lord. The Lord of the Rings is just about people walking. It's just about two people walking.
No, they didn't even give us the people walking. They didn't even really give us that. They cut it all out. Like, they cut out almost all of their moments of bonding. Kind of, so you're saying that they would have had to go through that could like build their relationship. There's no they encounter like almost nothing together. Like, the big thing that they encounter along the way is fucking David, and they don't even encounter that shit together.
I mean, Joel's there. They're both there, just not together.
They have their own fucking experience away from each other for that. There's no bonding in that. It's, I just killed 30 guys. And
the
you
hug.
Okay? Yeah. You see what I just did.
The hug afterwards was bonding.
Motherfucker's head up. No problem here, Joel. I had that shit under control. What the fuck you all worried about?
You're being dramatic now.
Did you bring my bag when you left that house, motherfucker?
You're a little dramatic. You're being dramatic. A Dolphin Time says, I love it though. I make Joel's decision 10 out of 10 times. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Brendan Fraser, we got Atari Dad. If you're interested in the Oscar stuff, Atari Dad is giving the results in the live chat.
Has Chris Rock been smacked yet?
Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser. No, that was last. Yeah, you missed it. It's last year. Brendan Fraser won.
I thought they were doing that every year. I thought they were bringing Chris Rock out every year to get smacked by Will Smith.
The international.
I thought that was going to be a new annual thing.
That's how they start it. That's how they start every episode. It's like ringing the gong when you walk in somewhere. It's like,
drag Chris Rock out.
Yeah.
And you let Will Smith smack him. The Oscar season has begun.
Oh my goodness. Okay, area code 916.
Hello, this is the voice at 916.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Phil. Hi, Joe.
Class up this show for a second here, 916.
I know, right?
I don't know how to feel about the series as a whole because I don't think that they balanced enough the violence and the the sentimentality. It was just too much of one and not enough of the other. I didn't feel the tension overall. We didn't see enough clickers. And whenever they went anywhere, they seemed to talk. And it's my understanding that if you're trying to hide from the infected, you got to be careful about that.
Yeah, that you have to be careful. And I thought about that a couple of times when, dare I say that one thing that The Walking Dead does better is the making noise and worrying about it attracting infected from noise.
Careful about where you step in this universe. Oh wait, we were just kidding.
They only did that once.
That's only in Boston.
They did that once.
That's only in Boston.
I thought that was going to be a thing. Honestly, Joe, I thought that was going to be a thing the whole season, and I was like, wow. And
so stupid. Why did you even put that in?
Because they needed to replace the gas, like the fumes thing, with something.
They needed to. They were like, shit. This is supposed to be Fedra.
In retrospect,
do something to make it not Fedra. I got an idea. Let's make it infective, and let's have one of them rape Tessa.
Joe, in retrospect, do you wish that they just did the fume, or not the fume, the spores, like the
Yes,
in
I
air
wish they had
spores stuff?
just done the spores.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they have to be able to travel, or spores that even have to be able to live long. They could have, like, if it drops below a certain degree, these spores die. If it gets too hot, these spores die. But if kept in cool, dark conditions, or maybe exposed to direct sunlight, these spores
Are they
die. They
gremlins?
could have done. Who the fuck knows? But they could have done a lot of shit with the spores. They already mutated this shit to affect humans. Mutated a little bit more. They already mutated enough to make them fucking reach and move and grow like you would never fucking see anything grow in your fucking life. Nothing fucking grows that. What the fuck grows that quick on this planet? Show me anything that grows that quick that I can throw down on a fucking table and watch, like, grow like that. That's
Joe,
a living
Joe, this
organism.
is a family show, so I can't tell you what just popped in my head when you said that. It's a family show, Joe.
The sound, and that was, I didn't feel that.
Slam it down the table, watch it grow.
To be fair, you got to keep slamming that down on the table to get it to grow.
Especially the older you get.
Or the series. Now, I do have to say that episode 3 was my favorite, though. It was very touching and very moving, and it did have a mix of violence, story, and sentimentality. But the pacing of the overall series, not quite. So, I don't know how to feel about season 2. I know what the story's supposed to be, but I'm not
I
sure.
think,
I think it's trying to be nice.
Yeah, I think the voice wants to be a little harsher than she is right now.
I think so too.
Time in season 2, but we'll see. And please excuse my voice. I've got a bad cold.
What?
Oh, what?
But,
It's like that's if like the band tells you they were off on a song. You didn't need to tell us because your voice sounded.
Nobody
wonderful.
fucking noticed but you.
No. Apulia, exactly. Only the guitar player notices that.
Only the guitar player noticed
that they missed the chord.
Measure, fourth, like his finger hit the fret.
Yeah, they hit the wrong key. They hit an A sharp instead of a minor. So Apulia asks. Wasn't Joe, but wasn't, and I'm going to say this, Joe, because this is for you. Wasn't the show meant for non-game players? Focusing on the drama to tell the story makes a difference. And I agree.
Oh, yes. Yes. It took what was...
Welcome, Tom P.
It took what was what is it called? A prestige game.
No, don't prestige.
And turned it into
prestige TV.
Pedestrian television. That's what the difference is.
Prestige
Especially
television.
the way they went about a lot of it too. Like, no, there's nothing wrong with focusing on the drama. Focus on the right drama. Don't try to cram, like, instead of giving us 2 episodes with Kathleen to give us some sort of alternate view of something that might happen in the future, right? To give us some sort of like other, like, this is a theme and this is one way this theme could go, and we're going to show you that now as a foreshadow for future shit, maybe, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of doing some shit like that really has no place, that saturates a season with what's supposed to be 2 big bads in David and this other one. Why not expand upon the real bad, which was David, and expand upon what makes this so important in the first place to get Ellie across the country, what makes the whole goddamn thing, like Chicago said earlier, important, and reason for this whole story is getting her across the country to make this threat to humanity that is literally devastating humanity, to finally alleviate that threat with some sort of cure. Like, focus on those 2 as you're already doing. You did away with Fedra to add Kathleen. You did away with the zombies to add like some other drama shit. Like, no, like, do away with one of, like, I don't know. There was a lot of decisions you made either. I'm not sure why. Like, oh, no. This story is good enough to be good or to be great, it's a love story and it's a great love story, but it's good enough to be that by taking out what makes it that, what drives
Joe,
that, because the love is good enough. And no, I'm sorry, it's not like
Joe, to your point, how you doing, which is a great name, a great screen name, says it was definitely wasn't a, and this is, I think, kind of what you're saying in a way, and that it's almost worse. It's that frightening Dick Theater thing. You love or hate it, but just thinking it's all right is the worst sin of all. It's definitely wasn't a bad show, but I was disappointed with everything they omitted and how rushed it all felt.
Yeah, like everything.
Wasn't a bad show though. I don't think it's CW trash that you imply that it is, or that Tracy really, or Tracy, you and Tracy. I'm not with you and Tracy saying it's CW trash.
It is. You have zero development between your two main characters. There really isn't, and they try to draw it back to like, oh, well, they bonded over bad puns apparently, because that's what made Joel laugh. Joel knew one or two of them, and he asked again at the end of the show
Welcome
to hear more of them. Like, there's no growth for your two main characters.
You didn't have time to grow because you only had 10 episodes.
Because like they said, it was condensed. Like they said, it was missing. They took out a lot of shit, and then they condensed it, and then they added this other shit. Like they added other shit.
There's a lot of shit
that took away from all of these things that were what drove the story in the game. The story is great, but there's no drive, there's no motive, there's no anything behind any of it without the greater threat of these zombies. And our two main characters only faced this threat to themselves really once.
I mean, they faced it a lot.
All these other soldiers in Kansas City start shooting, really there's no threat to the ones that are just trying to run away.
No, they had
they're all going to mostly be attracted to the shooting,
and they had plot armor anyway. But
they did too early in the season for
we knew neither of them are dying. So we went also that they had situations and dealt with things off camera that we didn't get to see. So let's do a couple of voicemails before we bring David in and get into the recap and break this down and keep going, Joe. Don't hold back. Keep this coming, Joe. And people, I just let it on, but yeah, the Walking David will be joining us in the next few minutes. I'll be popping him in the link. So this is area code 859.
Hey, Phil, I liked the ending. It was exactly as the game was, but I'm telling you, man, they really could have done with some longer episodes with these last 3 episodes. I mean, they could have done so much more, really.
Yep.
They added so much stuff that wasn't in there.
Would you just say like 10 minutes make a whole
10 minutes in each episode of some sort of like clicker, runner, or zombie killing, or hiding, or evasion. 10 minutes. 10 minutes, that's it. That's not a lot to ask to tack on to make a 47-minute episode 57 minutes. What kind of your budget are you fucking killing? Like, I'm sorry, if I'm this motherfucker that made the game, and I'm the motherfucker that got green light on HBO to make this a fucking TV series, I'm taking my entire salary out of this motherfucker because I'm already rich enough to add that extra goddamn fucking 10 minutes to make the shit good enough.
HBO's got.
Are you fucking kidding me?
HBO's.
Like, this is his baby, and he was like,
we don't need it. Play the game. So we already made the game. We're not making the game again. But HBO, I'm sure you're going to see a lot more money coming into that season too. Agree, the episode could have been longer, but overall I still love it. And Luna, thank you so much. We got 87 people watching. If you're watching live right now, any of you 80 folk that are watching, please hit that like button. Please share this out to a few people. Help us bump it up even more if we can, or at least stick around and get your thoughts on in, either in the live chat, the Q&As, text or call 781-990-8509. If you have a question for myself, Joe, or Walking David coming on in a second, we'll get to him as well, and get your questions over to any of us. 781-990-8509. Let's go.
The games, they could have added more, give us a better experience.
Yep.
That would have been nice, HBO. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. What do you think?
No, I think we cut you off right before the end of your message, and we basically agree with you. Not crazy. Area code 859. You are not the father. You're not crazy. You're not fucking crazy. Don't.
You are not the crazy.
You're not the crazy. You're not the crazy. Well said, Joe. We have to timestamp that one and get that going. Okay, so let's get to our good buddy from area code 773.
Greetings, gentlemen. It is Captain Roger calling after binging more Drawn Together. The finale felt short, sadly. However, I did enjoy that.
That was my nickname growing up. Short. It was a little short.
Johnson cameo. Perhaps I'll call back tonight as Ling with more input on this episode from tonight. In the meantime, save yourselves.
And your soul.
No. And then we got the amazing Greg Call, as always, my friend. We've got the amazing Steph Snow.
Hey guys, it's Steph Snow. Wow, this is very emotional. In the beginning with Ellie's character who plays her giving birth to her, it me up. It was really amazing to see that character give that performance.
Yeah, it was. I got to agree with that. I'm all over the fucking map here tonight.
I don't know. I mean,
that shit had me choked up.
Joe, I'm with you too. I felt like this was. I loved last week's episode, like unmitigatingly loved last week's episode, and this week's. What, you did too. You were fucking high on last week's.
I gave that shit like a 6.5.
Dude, you were so high on last week's episode.
What?
Fuck you.
What?
Fuck you. Do we have to go back and listen to the tape?
Yeah, I think you do, dude.
In my memory, you liked the episode too.
You are the crazy.
No, you're fucking crazy. You think you just hate everything in a bubble.
I gave that shit like a 6.5.
Your fucking ass gave it a poop in a butt. You totally liked last week's episode.
What do you think?
Did Joe like last week? Didn't he?
Did you get the impression?
Did I?
From our show last week.
Yes. Yes, you said it was a
episode.
good episode of television, you fucking asshole.
I think you say that about every week.
I think you just
previously on the Issues Guy, Joe liked the episode.
You did. You totally liked last week, you ass. It was the episode before that you thought was ass butter.
It's very conflicted emotions.
We have to do a recap of our own podcast one day.
How everything is going to go down, and knowing a little bit about what I know about the second game and trying not to spoil or infer. Just seeing Joel's love for Ellie and just him not willing to sacrifice her. I mean, he was just taking down everyone in that hospital. Person by person. It just drove home that relationship that had been building the whole season, and if you were questioning it was clear as day.
What's that, Joe?
I don't know. This episode, I don't know if I'm taking what the caller said and in a little tangent in my mind, or actually commenting on what the caller just said. But I really felt like in this episode, Joel was just walking after Ellie, like the boyfriend who forgot to pick his, girlfriend up after work, and she had to wait like 2 hours outside of work for him. Because he was too busy playing PS5 or some shit. Like, and he's just, why are you mad at me? I said I'm sorry.
Speaking of,
I know he's not apologizing for anything, but like that's just kind of what it reminded me.
We're still gonna
like
be
that Jordan and Peele. You're cool.
Do you know?
But you're cool.
Thank you, Monk Monty, for remembering. He did like last week. Not anymore. Suddenly you don't like it. You liked it last week. Ass butter, fucking motherfucker. Did you guys see the trailer? Oh, we'll talk about that at a different time, Jasmine. But I didn't see that. I'm gonna listen to this podcast afterwards. Will we rank the episodes next week? Which ones and why? We'll talk. Yeah, sure. We'll do that next week. And
I don't know if I'll be able to remember them well enough, but like.
We'll try.
I can rank them all right now.
She said last week.
I think they're ranked themselves, by the way.
Okay.
I mean, what?
Do you rank themselves when they just go what? You're saying they just go all the way. Oh, you're a mess. Okay.
I'm a mess. I am. I'm a few beers deep here.
Oh yeah, you still have to. You got to get a little deeper. We're gonna finish Steph Snow's message, then we're gonna bring David in, and I think do we have one more voicemail after that? Oh no, we got a few that are coming in, but we'll bring David in before we get to the rest of the voicemail. This is Steph Snow. Area code Steph
So
Snow.
I enjoyed that, and it's hard to say. Like, how does one react about something that they don't have a hand in? So,
right?
I don't know. I think that Joel or Pedro Pascal did such a good job in just doing what he thought was best, and whether it will play out the way he thought.
I think he's not only in between walking around asking her in these scenes this week, so like trying to like get any kind of reaction from her to like just talk, right? Because she's not herself. And like in between, I can see him turning to the directors and being like, "So I've read the scripts like 10 times. Why do I care? Like, why has my character decided to care about her at this point?"
Dude, he's acting with when he's not acting with her, he's acting with Baby Yoda, and I think at least she can, like it's come on, he's used to working on that Disney lot with the green blue screens and shit, and
like seriously, why do I care? Wait,
this is
real. What
have
we been? I don't understand what we've been through that makes me care about this character. Like aside from like she's negging me now and won't talk to me, like. There he is.
There we go.
There he is.
There we go.
Am I on there now?
Oh, you're on now, David. Welcome to the show.
He is live and direct from somewhere out west. California?
Oklahoma.
Yeah. Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Kansas City?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Is that in Oklahoma? Wait,
he's with Kathleen.
Obviously not. Obviously not.
I got to adjust you guys' camera, but welcome to the
show, David. I was watching
David.
Ted Lasso today. Oklahoma comes up.
Did it really?
Yeah. It's a safe word for some shit.
Oh, well, that makes sense. That's the only reason I say it.
How are the earthquakes down there in Oklahoma?
Consistent,
Nice.
The constant fracking rumble. You don't even notice it anymore, It's when it stops that you go, did the earthquake stop? And then that's when something's bad.
Nice.
So someone wants did
as long as it doesn't stop.
Never stops.
So this is a question for David, as Luna just asked coming on in. And David, did Joel lie to Ellie for her sake or for his own, you think?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that it's for his own. Because, like, let's say that...
No way.
You don't think he lied? Why?
She would be crushed.
Joe's a drunk troll tonight. Be prepared for it.
That her one purpose wasn't able to be fulfilled. The whole reason for them going, the loss of like her best friend, and she didn't die, and she was supposed to die, and her whole like even he kind of says it right at the end. You're that you'll find another reason to fight.
Well, and see, I mean, you're right, I guess, in that regard. What I was thinking, though, is that he wants to keep her around, right? So that's why he wouldn't tell her. It's just because it's to benefit him because he's super lonely. He got attached again, and he doesn't want to let go of it. But you're right. I think
no, that's why he kills everybody.
Yeah, that is why he kills her.
That's why he kills everybody. And he goes and takes her. He lies because he wants to protect her.
Yeah, all right.
And her ego.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
Joe is always right. And I'm sorry, I have it set up like mugshots. I have to get another overlay.
Is it really? I have no idea.
I have to set up another overlay in the future for guests. I'm not used to having guests. I could have it like this, but
three-way.
Yeah, we have the three-way, but then we get David alone. I'll move it through. I'll go from Joe to David like that. We'll do this. I'll live switcher like I'm in the 80s here. Make Joe's head smaller. Yeah, Joe's head was just way too big. I mean,
I'm squirming a lot too. So
you could say that about everything. We always gotta make Joe's head a little smaller here. And
now that we got like a professional on board here, I'm squirming in my chair and I don't know.
No, you guys are the pros. Okay, these guys are.
No. You work in industry.
No, that's
you do industry shit.
I'm the
so
professional.
you know about like the actual writing and scripting and filming and
Oh, I know.
how
I mean,
shit works. Me, I watch it and I shit on people's hard work because I can't work myself.
hey, it's a skill that at least 79 people currently don't have. So it's you embrace it. Embrace it.
Exactly. Take that and run with it. But everyone, if you don't know The Walking David, make sure you check out his YouTube channel, his TikTok channel, and he does awesome impressions. He pulled in some Last of Us stuff, Walking Dead characters. Also, right now you can watch The Walking David on a show that you can stream. Like tonight, you could stop this live stream right now and go watch Walking David on a show. David, what's the name of the show that people can check you out on right now?
It's called 1,000 Tomorrows, and it's on PureFlix. It's a 6-episode miniseries, kind of like a romantic series. But I play a rodeo announcer in 5 out of the 6 episodes. So if you want to see your boy, go and check that out.
Make sure you do that and support The Walking David and support member
he's
of our
from
show.
Oklahoma, so he knows about that rodeo shit right off the bat.
Oh,
right, dude, that's what they thought. The very first thing that they asked me is they just go, "How much rodeo experience you have?" And I go, "I've literally never been to one ever in my life in Oklahoma." And they were just like, "Oh." And I just go, "No, I have radio experience. I have 0 rodeo experience."
Sorry for the quick motion sicknesses. I have it set now. Everything's all set in its lasting position. I want to spend some special love out to our live chat member. Justin Quarantine says, "My dog passed away today. Can you make the rest of this review all about me?" Yes, we actually can. I want to send you love. I think we're all huge pet people, and we can definitely relate. Sending you the best vibes we possibly can on this night. And we'll try to make you giggle and distract you a little bit from what you're dealing with. But sorry for your puppy loss, my friend Justin. Sorry about that. Congrats, The Walking Dead. Make sure you check it out, everybody. And let's listen to another voicemail here. This is from area code 304.
And the Oscar for best recap goes to
Trev Chan, number 2. Shut up, Trev Chan!
Phil and Joe for the best recap ever. By the way, the Academy needs you to pick up your awards right now. Hey, Phil and Joe, this is Matt.
They won't like it when we climb the stage.
I thought the episode was
no, Joe's gonna slap me on that stage.
Okay, but like I said before, there was not enough episodes to cover this whole entire story. And I think the pacing has been the worst with this show. Is HBO going bankrupt or what? I mean, they should have put way more money into the show than some of their other projects, I think.
Yep.
I do have a question for Joe, and I was thinking about this when I saw Troy Baker last week playing The Last of Us, and I thought he did a good job with his role. But I was wondering, I know Pedro's a great actor, but do you think Troy Baker could have played this role better than Pedro, or do you think he could have played it good enough to be the main lead in this role? And by the way, love that hoodie. Go Pats. I'll see you two later. Thanks.
So Joe.
You're absolutely right. I think he probably could have been. And I think they went with Pedro because of how big Pedro is right now.
Yeah. Well, I also heard that Troy Baker, I guess, was even like offered a chance at it, and he turned it down. Like he didn't want to do it.
Huh.
Yeah.
But maybe probably to distance himself from it, because if you've been associated with one of these big projects for 10 years, it's like being like Iron Man for 10 years. You're like, I want to do other things and be known for other things. If you're an actor, you don't want to get stuck in this one thing.
Yeah, but who knows who Troy Baker is outside of game fans from The Last of Us, and then outside of hardcore game fans of The Last of Us who bothered to like watch all the back scenes and decided to get to know who was playing who. Like I watched all that shit. I found it. I loved the game so much. That's how big of a fan I don't do that shit for anything. I have never done that for any game. I did it for this thing.
Well, if you think of it like this.
When I first played it.
Well, if you think of it like this, it's like from the actor perspective. If I'm not this way, but if I was an introvert, I know Phil knows too, but we're both extroverts clearly. But it's like if you were an introvert, but you still wanted to get to perform, to be in that lead role and be in the limelight. I mean, everybody's looking at this show. I mean, it had so much hype around it that he seems like, when I see him in interviews, like he's a very introverted guy. He kind of likes being under the radar. And of course, he loves the money and success that comes with, being the star of one of these games.
I think we're speculating a little bit too hard here. I think they sent him the script and he read the fucking thing and he was like, no fucking way.
Joe, I don't think it was that bad. Someone asked you Joe. You liked the first episode, Victory. Now, Tracy says the caller was on point. I think Troy Baker could have done it better. Somebody asked a quick question that I want to get to before it passes by because it's a funny question. It's a very quick answer. Someone asked. Atari Dad says, have Phil and Joe ever traded blows? No, I'm not stupid. I've seen Joe fight.
Oh.
I've seen Joe. I think Joe and I have probably been in like 3 real arguments in our life in like the 40 years that we've known. One maybe, but it really not that bad. But like when it maybe a couple times in the basketball court it got heated because Joe was beating me so bad, so I got like bitchy about it.
Not me. You took it out on other people.
Yeah, I threw a ball at someone else's head when I was pissed at Joe. That's true story. True story. But no, I actually have seen Joe fight, so I'm not stupid, and so I've never fought Joe. I
don't like fighting. I got to be really mad or really scared to start throwing blows at somebody.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, so I haven't messed. Joe's like Swayze in Roadhouse or some shit like that. Like I don't want to mess with that. So let's
not quite.
Let's continue with Troy Breaker through the.
I can't rip nobody's fucking heart or throat out.
Okay, you're Sam Elliott.
I tried. I cannot do it.
You're Sam Elliott, or you're the blind dude playing lead guitar. You're someone in Roadhouse. Dodgeball. Look for the light, Grievous. Look for the light. He did not throw out the script, Mad Sinister. Oh my God, you guys. Okay, Ariel.
No, he didn't throw out the script. He just said no way to be in. He's like, no way. I'm not going down for this shit. I'll be this guy. I'll be this guy.
Mutually exclusive. He could have read it and thought it was ass, but also not wanted to do it. Period.
Yeah, no, both things. To David's
fair point.
Fair point.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Compromise.
Joe, in fairness to David is right. We're very all or nothing over here. Thank you for bringing sense to the discussion, David.
I already got a busy schedule, but the script really sucks too. The zero of what the game made the game truly special. Not zero.
Joe, do you know what makes everything special here? It's getting into our fucking
recap.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna go grab some vodka.
Ooh. The vodka tonight. Oh, they're both gone. Leave me alone. What do you have, 3 pound weights left? I wouldn't fight them all at once. I wouldn't fight all the Walking Dead writers. I mean, the real writers did some good work.
Okay, good. I worked out.
The real writers to that did some really good work.
I'm ready for the
I gotta say that. So I wouldn't fight all the writers at once. But most of them, of the TV show. You guys missed it.
The fuck did I miss?
Yeah.
Did I miss you just talking about beating people up?
No, they wanted me to fight. Someone wanted me. I don't know. I saw her scroll by about fighting all the Walking Dead writers.
Yeah, I mean, I think people still want us to call AMC again. Complain about.
They deserve.
I have to call AMC and pretend that I'm Andrew Lincoln.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be freaking great.
Oh God, you might get in trouble for that shit.
No. We're gonna.
You'd have
Identity theft.
You have a reputation too much. People will know who it is.
That's true. They're like, is that fucking walking?
Wait, I remember that guy.
I watch your TikTok.
I saw him.
TikTok, you asshole.
Oh my goodness, Justin, I'm already out of breath.
Yeah, he's about to have a heart attack.
I'm about to die right now. I'm about to pass out. Dude, look, David's drinking. I don't know if I've seen David drink on a stream. Well, there we go. David.
Yeah, you have.
No, I know I have. You got a little drink.
What was that? Did you pour anything in there?
Yeah, vodka. Sorry.
Don't show us the bottle. Show us the cup. There you go. Okay.
Heineken's like,
that was his water glass.
Yeah. Heineken, yeah, you could tell I'm really working those 5 pound weights. I'm like, oh, I can do it.
5 pounds.
No, they're
3 pounds, 2.5.
You know me. I'm like those cartoons where the arm goes down. It's like,
ooh, what'd you put in there?
Some cherry soda.
Cherry soda, yeah.
Cherry 7-Up.
Instead of the recap, we got oxygen. Give me oxygen.
That sounds like a good drink there. Makes me wish I had bought. I got a bottle of wine too, but
oh, dude, you'll be fucking shit faced if you chug a bottle of wine.
Work tomorrow. I'm not gonna drink the whole bottle.
Well, we're just starting the recap. I mean, you never can.
Yeah, I'm about to say it could get out of hand, dude. If I had a bottle of wine, dude, it would just be red from like here down.
It'd be like a 7-year-old eating spaghetti.
Yeah, dude.
Skips
I
Betty.
turn into a clicker real quick.
So, and we're going to be going back and forth. We still got a couple of voicemails. We're going to get to those. Keep calling on in 781-990-8509 if you have any questions or comments. But let's get into this recap a little bit. So we talked about the scene a little bit. We opened up rustling through the leaves. Someone's breathing heavy like me, jumping up and down like an idiot during a recap. Who is this person? Who is this mystery person? Is this a character from Growing Pains, apparently? I guess it is. It's Ellie's mom. And obviously, anyone who knows who this is knew right away it was Ellie's mom. At first, I was like, who the fuck is this person? I don't know him. And
anybody who played the game at all
knew immediately
knows that this was Ellie.
Right, this was Ellie. So
you could hear it right from.
Have we started an episode with Pedro and Ellie, or is every episode started with some random character that's just a one-off for a second, or ends up being a character?
I think
later?
One of them that started, they were waking up to some shit.
Because it seems like every episode, I'm not complaining about it, every episode opens up with, here's somebody new. We're going to know for a few minutes. And it reminds me of a Star Trek cold open.
Yeah. Chicago callers point made again. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
It's the illusion of world building. That's what that is.
Yeah, no, it is. It's
really what it is.
It's subtext in.
It's an illusion, all right.
It's an illusion of world building.
Yeah.
Where you're going, hey, this show has scope because there's 2 Inuit people sitting around a fire.
And they're talking about times of the past.
Don't worry about it.
They're
Sun was all the way over there.
Yeah, it's an exposition sandwich is basically what it is, and it's that kind of stuff. David's like, I'm never working in this town again. Talking to you guys. So, and people that wanted David to be Ellie's dad next season, you can watch.
Hey, I could be Pedro's dad in a flashback.
That's true. You could be Pedro's younger brother. Come on,
Hey, you could be. There's quite a few characters.
You couldn't play people's dad yet.
There's more than a few characters you could be next season, David. Allie needs a fuckboy.
There you go.
And
I don't know if that's a compliment. You're calling him a fuck. You're like, dude, someone needs a fuckboy. David would be perfect
playing
for that.
a fuckboy.
No, I bet you play that well. That's true.
Dude, there's a few male characters next season that you could fill the role of.
Well,
no doubt.
Guys, I'm working on it. I'm working on getting some more agents out on the East Coast, Atlanta, and stuff like that, so we can try to make this shit happen.
Let's do it. So
this isn't Hooked on Atlanta. That's the other show.
I don't know.
This shit's filmed in fucking Vancouver or some shit.
Fine. Well, they handle it.
Yeah. No one lives in Vancouver. They just shoot.
No one lives. They
just shoot New York. Yeah, they just shoot New York. Yeah, they just shoot fucking New York up there. So we open up to rustling through the leaves and all this sort of stuff. And it's Ellie's mom. She's got it going on, and she's running towards a barn or a farm. She gets back in. She screams. She she's in labor apparently, and she checks to see if she locks the door. She heads in the room, and she like checked to see if she was in labor. It was
locks the door. I like how she locks the door.
Yeah,
like the extra deadbolt is gonna stop it from opening, from something getting like kicking through it. Then I don't know, just a little foolish.
So was she
windows
running
everywhere? The zombies knew to go through the windows, knew to go into the house.
I mean, knew to
go upstairs. I mean, she was yelling.
She was yelling and she was screaming, and
she was having a baby.
And there was a trail of her.
Oh yeah, she was smelly.
Yes, that's not. I wasn't gonna say it quite like that, Joe, but yeah, I mean,
yes, like that, David.
Exactly.
That was probably
David's giving
like with sweat.
David's giving you the Rick Grimes "I'm gonna bite your neck out" look.
Scented.
What are you
There
talking
was aroma through the house.
There was an aroma. She's out there, smelling like amniotic fluid.
See,
No,
I didn't go there. I was just talking about the sweat.
He did that for my. He did that for my
there.
benefit. He did that for my benefit. I indirectly asked David to do that. So I did. Okay, so she checks to see if she's in labor, and she is, and she literally, there was a moment where she checks to see if she's in labor. It was a.
That was her water breaking.
It was her water. They just made sure they wanted you to know that the water broke. So she heads in the room. She locks the door, and she stays there. She grabs her knife, which is Ellie's knife, eventually, and the infected easily bashes down the door and gets in there. And good thing she locked the door. That saved her a whole second and a half.
Right.
And the infected, I keep wanting to call it a walker, comes up and she stabs the fuck out of it, but did she get bit in the process, or did she just die in the
thigh?
Okay, she got bit in the thigh. Okay.
Yeah, that was a Carl bite situation.
Yeah, and every bite in these fucking things, tell me you don't want David. Do you watch intently when someone gets attacked? Watch to see if they get bit, right? Do you ever see the bite? Almost never, unless it's all dramatic because we're gonna see the bite and we're gonna know you die. No, you never see the bite. There's never a moment where you're like, oh, that could have been the bite. That could have, oh, yep, she got bit. I saw that when that happened, but wasn't sure. Nope, it's just, you're sure. There was no bite. There was no bite.
And you've said this a lot of times, on these streams, about this show, where they cut away from the action right as it's happening. The pipe is coming down and Joel's like, I believe him. And then they cut right before they hit him in the head. And then, they do it every now and then on crucial things where it's cutting away before you see a bite, and then they reveal that there was a bite, and then cutting away before he kills somebody. And I don't know why that is. This goes with what I know Phil will roll his eyes at it, but it kind of goes with your CW thing or your AMC thing, where they are nullifying it to make it.
That is very Arrow-like. It's very Arrow-like.
Insecure is on regular network cable right now. What's it called? What's that thing with that fucker that plays the bartender in Deadpool about nerds?
Oh, TJ Miller?
Yeah, that nerd shit in Silicon Valley that was on HBO. That's on TNT or TBS now. All of these shows that HBO is putting out, they're putting out now, already safe. So you don't have to re-edit them. You don't have to change the director's content to put it on these other shows. They are ready to go, ready to have everybody pay the money now. And those of you poor fuckers who didn't have the money to pay for it, to watch it when it came out in 7-8 years after everybody's told you what awesome shit you fucking missed, you can watch it then on fucking WB. And they don't have to touch it. They can just, what do they got? One episode, maybe they got a titty or an F-bomb. We'll just take that out, no problem.
Mad Sinister says it's HBO, not Hallmark. Sorry, David. What was that?
No, I mean, that's true. And it's also you have to keep in mind, on AMC, even with Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul and things like that, you can still get one fuck and 2 or 3 shits and 5.
If you're South Park,
but you ain't getting a House of Dragon asshole shot.
If you're South Park, you can get away with what was 255 shits that they said. I forget how many it was in the shit episode.
Did they really?
Yeah, there was one episode of South Park where it was when the laws were slightly changing, and they realized they could say shit like 246 times, and they said it, and they had a ticker in the corner, and they said it exactly 246. Yeah, I'm making up the number. It could have been 155, could have been 100, but it was shit, and they said it was called the shit episode. It was a while ago, but I forget.
I have to go and find it.
It's funny. It's funny as fuck. The shit episode's very well done.
Well, just to say this, it's like the Wolf of Wall Street, right? Like that had like a record number of like 496 or something like fucks or something in it, and
after the first, you don't notice it. Who cares?
Right, and it's also like every F-bomb is dropped by Ellie, and they're like, that's really edgy because a child said it, and you're like, but she's not a child, so it's like it's not like she's 5.
Right.
Well, I broke your fucking finger. It's like she's murdered someone just a second ago, so her saying fuck is kind of diminished. But Joel should definitely be saying it and talking like an adult.
And Luna, to answer your question,
like he hasn't had a kid in 20 years.
Luna, to answer your question, none of us have had babies, but I once saw Joe almost deliver one.
What? Really?
Yeah. Or no. Or no, she just happened to be pregnant. The woman's life that you saved. I'm crossing my streams in my head, Joe. With the woman that she saved when we called the cops that got thrown out of the car. I remember after the fact finding out that she was pregnant. In my mind, I auto-corrected it to that you took care of her until the ambulance got there, and then. But I saw Joe
delivered a baby.
And delivered a baby.
No baby.
There was no baby, but she was pregnant. Okay.
That's dope.
So, but Joe did save someone's life. So anyways, I'm worried. Justin says, I'm worried they trimmed down the violence because of the violence in Hollywood's going to be taking us the next thing. It's possible to put Spartacus on a TV network. Check out the UPN. Has HBO gone censored? Joe, is that a trope? I thought we were going to you never see people get bit on this show. Like the lady in X-Men 3 locks the door on Magneto. One of my favorite podcasters lives in Vancouver. He says people are high there all the time. I do not doubt that.
Dude, I live on Earth, and people are high there all the fucking time, man.
Especially these days. especially in Massachusetts. Okay, so she locks herself in the room. The mom's infected on the thigh. We get little baby Ellie as she says hi. This is the scene that Joe was talking about, emotional. Ellie talking to Ellie in baby talk, and we get Ellie Ellie can't stand. It's like watching Larry David talk with Jason Alexander. It's like worlds colliding in the best possible way. And then we see the blood. It was unclear to me just because of my TV sucks. I almost thought she was bit before Ellie, and I know she said.
No, okay. So
one quick question before you go, Joe. She mentioned that she cut the cord before it got to Ellie. Is it possible that she didn't do that and Ellie got infected right there?
No,
right?
You didn't pay attention, dude, because that motherfucker, she checked. She came in. She checked. Oh no, my water broke. She turns around. She shuts the fucking door. She goes across the room. She sits down. She pulls out her knife and she pushes a couple of times, but nothing happens. So she has some contractions or something. Nothing happens. Then that motherfucker bursts through and climbs up her body, biting her thigh in the process, not her face or her hands or anything like that. And when it gets up to her face, and when she's done with that, she looks down. And the baby's there.
So
she realizes, oh fuck, I got to use this bloody ass fucking zombie mushroom knife to cut the umbilical cord before that fungus goes from my thigh, which is bleeding from the fucking bite, to the fucking baby.
So haven't we just seen?
And then she lies to Marlene.
So haven't we just seen?
That early.
Okay, she lied to Marlene, but she should have told the truth because ultimately,
they killed that baby right then and there.
I know, but let me finish, Joe. Ultimately, yes, they would have. Joe, ultimately they would have killed the baby, yes, but ultimately, when it comes down to it, that is exactly how the baby became immune. So that's how the fight the cure. You bite baby, or you give it to
baby.
You bite baby mama right before they give birth.
Dude, fuck abortion.
No, it's not even that kind of
the new abortion.
Joe, it's not even that kind of issue. I'm just saying from the standpoint of what we learned tonight is that the way Ellie became immune was because when she was a baby, she got infected early and the baby antibodies could fight it off better.
A lot of men out there going, I think Phil's on to something here.
What am I on to? What am I on to? Other than the fact that is maybe if they introduce the infection early on in a child's life, they'll be able to fight it off, but without them getting it. Like, what did we learn from this? This is a new scene, Joe, that actually informs.
We learned that's how why Ellie.
So how can that be used to find a cure?
Well, nobody knows that. We know that, dude. And this is that shit, all this shit. Everything you just saw, we just talked about, that just went down, none of that's game. None of that's game. That's all new for show. So that's to answer all those people like, why? Why is she? No game, motherfucker. By the time this shit was over, cares why she's immune. You may think you may no. You may start out thinking that. You may start out thinking that when you play the game, but by
I'm not playing the game.
Murder your way across. Exactly, and that's why
I'm watching the show, and I give a shit why she's immune, and I want to know because that's the only way to make other people immune and stop the damn apocalypse. Even though you don't think, and Tracy and some other people don't think the infected are a problem because we don't see them, but the infected are still out there, and to solve that problem, we have to get less infected people that are immune like Ellie, and the best way to do that is to bite the babies.
But the infected people.
Sorry,
okay, right?
David's like, I'm with you till that. Phil, come on, why you have to end it like
Here's
that?
Here's the thing: the infected people, the infected ones, right? They'll still come after you, even if you have that.
Right, you can still get your skin ripped apart.
They still, like in the situation in the museum, they still came after Ellie. In the situation with Sam still came after Ellie or Henry or whoever, whichever the one it was, like Sam, like that's just it. Like that's not gonna stop everything that's still out there. And then how are you gonna distribute it? How are you gonna mass produce this shit? How are you gonna get this shit over to Europe, down to South America?
Hey,
like,
I have a dumb
are you
question.
Kidding?
Dave,
are you kidding me?
Joe, David.
I have a dumb question, Joe, just because I haven't played the game. Okay. So it's like, so Ellie, she's infected, but she's immune, but she has cordyceps that are in her body, or in her brain, supposedly.
So,
I guess they don't know for sure.
Hold on, yes. In the game, we get part of the hospital shit is when you're trying to go
have a good night, Wolf.
Find where Ellie is in the hospital. You come across some materials. If you're I need to pick up every single fucking thing that I can find.
Completionist.
In the game, like I kind of am. I'll play that shit until I find every Firefly tag, until I find every note, until I find every journal entry, until I find every artifact there is to find in a game like Uncharted. All that kind of bullshit, right? If you're that kind of, you find notes, you find MRIs, you find X-rays that have been done on Ellie that show the cordyceps is in her brain, that the cordyceps does run through her body, but has zero effect upon her. And it's unclear as to the extent in which, or if it will continue to grow as she gets older.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because here's my thing, is that just using that logic, because we've all complained about kind of a lack of clickers and bloaters and all that stuff of the infected, wouldn't huge droves of them be attracted to her? Because everywhere she goes, she's kind of connected to the hive.
Connected to the Borg. Yeah, to like the Borg hive mind kind of thing.
Like, couldn't they have done that in this show? Theoretically, couldn't they have done it to where when Joel explains it, and Tess explains it, if you step on one side, you can wake up a whole herd that's
maybe she's not connected to, maybe that mushroom is dead.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The mushroom within her already has dried up because it's
or it's dormant.
The dormant. That's part of
too far away.
That's part of her thing.
Sure.
Or they're only used that once in the fucking show because they're assholes and they wasted a whole episode on it just to move a moment of a story along.
Speaking of assholes,
instead of using it to move the whole story and drive action and tension throughout.
Joe, speaking of assholes, we're assholes because I've missed a couple of questions. First question is from John Haymaker. Why don't we ever see anyone get, and we answered this earlier, so we don't have to dwell on it, but I want to make sure I ask John's question. Why don't we ever see someone get bit? We only see the bite marks afterwards. We talked about that a lot tonight.
It won't be too scary for the little children, for parents to show it to their little children to help them learn how to be good people in life with the woke messages that run through this series.
And
that's the horrible answer.
And what a dick. Brian says, "Hey Phil, question. Back in 2013, an interview with the creator detailed the meaning of the words The Last of Us. Now, having watched the show, do you understand what those words mean?"
What?
I'll read it again, Joe. Hi Phil, question.
That was a highbrow question, I think. I
didn't hear it.
It's really the last of US.
Of U.S. Like you.
I'm being a douche.
I was being such a douche that my mind connected to.
That's what my last answer. I think my last answer and David's answer just now came from the exact same.
The movie The Toy.
No, from douchebag fucking spot somewhere.
Oh, okay. I was coming from
in the country that you gotta like play with or kill yourself over.
Oh, I was more going a movie quote from the movie The Toy.
Uh-oh, my cordyceps is acting up.
You guys. So, question. Back in 2013, an interview with the creator detailed the meaning of the words The Last of Us, Joe. Now, having watched the show, do you understand what those words mean? I don't understand necessarily what The Last of Us mean. The last of family, meaning they're the last people that they have for each other. Is that the sense of the meaning?
Or the last of humanity, because like
their connection is the last of humanity, like their love for each other.
Like it doesn't really fucking matter.
But it's a creator's question. What's the answer? What's The Last of Us mean to you, Joe?
What? Same thing. Like it's really the same exact thing, honestly, as The Walking Dead. Is it us? Is it them? Is it humanity? Yeah. Is it just the two of us? Is it what is this? The last of us as what? As the family unit, as humanity, as a community at Jacksonville, as a government in Fedra,
Joe,
as what?
We have a question for you in the live chat. Luna says, from a channel member, Luna asks, Joe Dirtylocks, the infected didn't attack Tess after she was bitten because it thought she was already infected. Is it the same for Ellie?
No, Sam fucking attacked her, and the clickers fucking attacked her. Like, she got attacked in the museum and throughout the game constantly. Like, you are not on point. Playing that shit on random mode, even on like regular mode, I guess, at points. If you're not on point, those motherfuckers will rip you apart without hesitation. They'll eat you. They will fucking tear your head off like you were that dude. Like the bloaters will tear Ellie's head off. They will tear Joel's head off.
And Joe, we have another question here from Apulia, and I had a thought. If Ellie ever bears a child, would that child be immune? If so, could the future descendants be saved from Ellie?
She can't have children. Maybe her uterus is all cordyceps.
She has a bad case of
cordyceptus. Right? She's got 2 mushrooms up there instead of ovaries, dropping fungi.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my. What is he talking about?
Oh my. And Luna has Oh my god. Luna has a question for The Walking David. The infected didn't bat. Oh, this is
You're dirty.
It was the same.
Boston.
It was the same question. So let's continue here. We got a text message as well from area code 815 who says, just curious. 815. I will save that for our next week. When we do our spoiler discussion. That will be a saved question. Let's save that. And let's listen to this voicemail from our good buddy here.
Roger Snow calling from Chicago. I'm getting heat stroke from that abortion joke. Abortion.
Joe, oh my goodness!
And it's good to know I can make people laugh about such a touchy subject.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're breaking the conventions of.
I mean, no offense by anything. It's all meant in humor.
It's all
ever.
And let's continue.
Always.
Greetings,
gentlemen. It's Roger Snow again playing Ling Ling. The Walking David honors us with his presence. I'm liking 1,000 tomorrows, but loving seeing you on my big screen. Stay awesome, trio.
Thank you. I wasn't sure where he's going.
Was that someone talking in another language and you Google translated some
Yes, he was.
Is that a call from a foreign place? Or is that can you tell that? Like, what's the area code?
And
What language?
No,
What
that was the same caller that said that was laughing at your joke. So this is area code 3.
What just happened?
Drama joy.
What is
Drama yelled victory. What that? Victory. Area code 309. And by the way, we got a couple more voicemails here. Keep the calls in. As much as we have fun talking, we have even more fun hearing your voices. So calling in 781-990-8509. This is from area code 309.
What's up, gentlemen? Chat. Sorry.
Notice I thought that.
Sorry, not gentlemen. What's up, you guys?
I think they meant the people in the chat or the gentlemen. I don't.
Not us.
I definitely. We're definitely.
What's up, us? What's up, chat?
What's
They're
up?
Talking to the chat. They're not talking to us.
The chat, gentlemen in the gentlemen, ladies in the chat. We're not the gentlemen.
Yeah, I couldn't be talking about us. So this is directed for you guys in the chat.
Listen, Viking Quest and Johnny Bananas are two fake shows I really wish existed in reality.
Oh yes, Viking Quest for sure.
This is again in chat. I just wanted to say, like, for the non-game players in this, watch episodes 1 and 2, and I mean you could throw 3 in there. I thought 3 was pretty solid. It's just a standalone episode, and then watch these last 2. Those are the essence of the game, and even more so these last 2 episodes give the essence of what this game was and what the show could have been throughout the entire season.
And I'll play the rest of your message, but I want to jump on that for a second because this is what I was saying to you from about last week, Joe. Last week, what we were saying to remind you was last week was awesome. We should have got more of this throughout the season.
His reaction.
The look.
His reaction immediately.
It's like someone doing a De Niro impression.
I see it. I see you.
You. I know you. Listen, you.
I stand next to De Niro, by the way. Well, not quite next, but 2 people over from De Niro and Killers of the Flower Moon coming to Apple.
Make sure you watch. David's going to be added to the amazing content on Apple Plus right now, which are a lot of really great shows, including The Walking David. Yeah, how is De Niro tall? Are you taller than De Niro?
No, he's like 5'7" or 5'8" or something like that. He just kept bitching about the heat.
For me, wasn't there for the end of this finale.
Someone's fishing for a Joe Rant here.
Like I thought, like just from like I know what was gonna happen. It hit with me, but like the season itself just didn't build up enough between like what Joe said with Ellie and Joel didn't have like their scenes where they were doing things on their own, fighting, and we just got all these montages basically of them going from one place to another, random, like just all these jumps.
Is that The Walking Dead? Great caller. Thank you so much for calling in. Joe, what are you showing us?
Yeah, is this Goodnight Moon?
You're muted. I mean, I know some people are probably thanking goodness that you're muted, but you are muted.
So one of them is Matchstick Men with Nicolas Cage. One of them is Seabiscuit.
Why do you have
my father-in-law?
Why do you have a scrapbook of Seabiscuit?
It's my father-in-law's movie career.
Ah.
He was in Seabiscuit, Matchstick Men, a 9/11 movie about the World Trade Center going down.
Your father-in-law?
He was in
You're married?
He was in a bunch of West Wing episodes.
Did you get married and not tell
General
me?
at the fucking table.
Oh, dude.
Katie's dad.
He
was in like I got a whole it's
I need to talk to this guy.
Life in the Background.
Oh,
right?
dude.
He was a SAG. I got his fucking SAG card in here too. Katie, give me his fucking SAG card.
Heineken says Joe's showing pictures of people that's stalking him. Luna says, will you be doing anything on the Walking Dead spinoffs? I will say that we will be
like really cool shit, David. You would get off on top.
I would. That's
big
like,
time.
Yeah.
Now, will we be talking about the Walking Dead spinoffs? I will say that I can't promise that Joe will be a part of that, but I'll at least be giving the Rick and Michonne one a try. I don't know about the Daryl one, and I don't know about the Negan and Maggie one. I'm dubious on those, but I am curious for the Andrew and the
David and I give it 4 thumbs jerking down.
Four enthusiastic thumbs
but
down.
aren't you at least morbidly curious about the Rick and Michonne one though? I'm a little curious about.
Honestly, I'm morbidly curious about them all, and I am going to torture myself with at least the premieres. But I will not be recapping any, and I will not be like, "Oh no, it's Sunday."
Well, I'm getting you on here. If you're watching it, you're coming the fuck on here with me after the episode.
I am not watching any of them. There is no.
You just
bone
said
in
you
my
were watching
body
that.
that wants to watch a premiere. And I don't know what you heard, but I definitely didn't say that.
You just said you'd watch. I will. You said you will watch the premiere.
No, I didn't say I was curious at all. I said there is zero morbid curiosity. I am morbidly uncurious.
Joe's literally forgetting things the moment after he says it.
Morbidly uncurious is the new phrase of the day.
I'm naming a band that. So
morbidly uncurious.
So she gives the baby to get back to her recap like 2 seconds into the episode.
It's a really good name for a band. Fuck.
It really is a good name for a band. So she gives the baby to Marlene and says, "Please watch this baby and don't let anything happen to the baby, and the baby's got to do all right." And she begs her to kill her, and she leaves the room and gives the baby to the other dude, and then comes back in and shoots him. Joe, would you find it difficult? I'd ask you, David, but you don't know me well enough. It'd be easy for you to kill me. Joe, would you find it hard to kill me if I was like, shoot me in that situation, or would you kill me
exactly like she did? Like exactly like she did. There's, I would have probably not said no, I won't kill you, and then went and like had to be forced to pick up your baby, Phil. I would have said, absolutely, dude, you got it. I would have grabbed your fucking kid by the heel, whipped him out to the fucking dude in the hallway, put 2 in your fucking forehead, and then went and buried that crying ass baby out in the fucking woods so it didn't get me killed on the way back to my fucking base.
Right, because you would assume that the baby's fucking infected.
That's a friend.
Your friend.
That's a friend.
That's a friend.
I would have definitely. I would listen. David and I have
best
talked about
friends.
this many fucking times, and any kind of like, if it comes down to it, yeah.
Katie knows where the.
You want me to do it before you change? Do you want me to make sure you're actually going to change first? Let's wait. I can wait till you fucking start foaming, or any time up until the point you say shoot me between the eyes. I get no problem doing it right this second. I get no problem waiting 12 hours. I get no problem waiting until after you fucking turn, Phil. But you tell me to do it, and I'm doing it. I'm not going to have a fucking problem doing it. I'm going to do it for Katie, too. I'll feel bad in the morning. Maybe I'll feel bad in 5 minutes. But I'll tell you what, I'll feel fucking hella good about myself that I did it for you.
Thank you, Joe. You're a humanitarian. And Phil.
Serious? I ain't gonna let you fucking walk around starving for brains for eternity.
Exactly.
That sounds like
as Dolphin.
Dude, you know what it's like to be hungry.
Dolphin Time has it in perfect in the live chat. Me saying kill before I even get the word kill out. Bang. And as Sonic Boy says, Phil says, kill me, take the baby, and Joe goes, bang, you're dead. Okay, so Marlene takes the baby, and we cut, she gives the baby to and kills the mom. So then we get to Joel, we do a cut from Ellie to Ellie, and it wasn't the best slow transition because they hung on modern Ellie a little too long. It was like the Jon Snow cut to the baby in Game of Thrones, and they fade from the baby to Jon Snow's face. Dun, 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 it's Ellie.
You know what? A Jon Snow transition would have been way better than cutting to her awkward face.
She had a very awkward expression on her face.
This is a very small critique, but the hair and makeup people on Ellie should feel ashamed. Anyways, continue.
No. Shame on you. I want to hear you shame production staff.
In some streets and some makeup rooms, That shit'll get you stabbed, dude.
Now Jesse makes
Jesse straighten my hair against my will.
Yeah, Joe's good. David's gonna be
That
on.
shit'll get your hair.
David, you're gonna be on some
motherfucker.
set. Not that anyone ever watches this show, but like, so the wrong person's watching the show. You'll be on set one day, and someone's like, so I heard you on that Issues Guy program talking about the makeup.
I'm talking about makeup
of The Last of
Someone
Us.
needing a new job.
Oh yeah.
Someone wants a perm, I hear.
We'll make sure you look real good on
Dude,
camera.
At this point, the amount of writers that probably go through these shows, what have we done? Like 5, 6, 7 shows, and I've shit on probably all of them.
Yeah, no one's watching.
A good fair amount, as much as I've probably more than I've praised them. But still, like, if I ever walked through the halls of one of these places for work, like, I would be looking over my shoulder constantly, ready to be fucking, like, someone hit me with a stapler or some shit, because I know it's coming. Like,
Joe, it reminds me.
I'd be on point. I'd have a letter opener in my hand, ready to go at a moment's notice in these.
Joe, it
hallways.
reminds me of when my first rock band put out a press release. We misquoted a local news celebrity, and she wanted to sue us. She came after us.
Right? Like, I've worked on psych units, and I got
Joyce
assaulted
Cole
for 20 fucking years on these fucking things, like on the weekly. And I'll tell you what, I would go into work at these writer halls, and like someone said, when have I read season 2? No, because if a script showed up at my house, Sonic, if a script showed up at my house and it said season 2 of fucking The Last of Us, please read and send back, that shit's a fucking bomb, or it's fucking anthrax or something. I ain't opening that. I know these motherfuckers.
Yeah,
no way.
People are trying to kill Joe. Okay, so speaking of people trying to kill things, Marlene takes the baby, and then we cut over.
I'm one step away from fucking Ron in the fucking basement with my fucking gun, or Frank, whatever his name is in this.
Not today, you giant boot.
Perfect.
That was great, David.
Perfect.
That was fucking great. Not today. I can't. Not today, you giant
Are we
boot.
hosting formal garden parties now? The government are all Nazis.
Okay, so
then
that's a good one. That's a good.
No, then they were. No, wait. Yeah, wait.
They weren't
were
then,
then
but
too.
yeah,
they were
then
now,
they weren't.
and they are then. Wait, okay, you're right.
You'll be lucky if Joe mails back that script with just obscenities on it. There'll be a lot of other things on that script.
It's gonna look like a fucking government redaction or some shit about fucking.
You're gonna want to burn
January 6th.
You're gonna
want
want to
black everywhere.
Yeah, you're gonna want to burn that. You're gonna want to burn that.
Like Joel, black. Ellie.
Yeah, the only scene that will be smile is like Joel kills someone. I like that scene. Okay, so Joel's calling her, and they get a little bit more, another cute scene with Chef Boyardee and Boggle. Joel is really like, Pedro's very Pedro in this scene. He's very animated. He's out talking her, which is the first time we've seen that. He's really trying to engage her more. She's a little bit more reflective. I know this is a minor thing, but is this reflective in the game at this point in the game? Is Ellie more quiet at this section, and Pedro's feeling and Joel's feeling more comfortable, like, yeah, I got my daughter back kind of vibe going on. So they're getting closer, and he looks happy.
They just went through a lot. It starts out, they're on like the overpass in the game, and they're coming down into Salt Lake City, and he starts talking about guitar lessons or
he wants
shit like that.
He wants to teach her guitar.
In this.
You'd probably be great at it.
Yeah, and then you got to get to the hospital from there.
Yeah, and they eventually get to the hospital.
Right, but there's a lot of shit that goes into this.
David, but before we get Joe to fill in on some of the stuff we might have missed in this scene, we were talking about.
I wish I had played this game this week. I really do.
We were talking about this earlier. I'm
gonna play this game this week before our. That's what I'm gonna do.
In the
Phil, I should make you come over for it
and watch you play the game.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. Or I'll come over there and play it there, and you can stream us playing it. We'll put on like super easy, and we'll take turns. If one of us dies, the other person will have to, and we'll talk about the game and what was different.
Then. So Phil's gonna die. 10 minutes. Joe's gonna finish.
And he's
gonna
put
that shit on super easy.
He's gonna yell at me.
No, it shit'll be on super easy. He'll be fine. On super easy, if he's not fine, come on.
See,
He'll
that's what
at
I'm
least
saying.
get-
See,
he'll at least get
this
through
sounds like a
Boston.
tense situation already. So
He'll get through Boston.
So Sonic says, good question, John. Would you eat 20-year-old SpaghettiOs? I was just gonna ask.
Oh, dude, Phil would be all over that.
I'd
shit.
eat that SpaghettiOs in a
The
second.
SpaghettiOs, he would fight, dude.
I'd fight someone.
Find the can of SpaghettiOs, of Chef Boyardee, anything, of meat and ravioli, anything that's in a can that's supposed to be Italian like that. If it's in a can, I know enough. That's Phil's food.
Yeah, especially.
He knows enough not to fight me about anything else.
Especially
and we'll split
SpaghettiOs
stuff.
and meatballs.
But like those cans, he gets those cans. That's fine. The spaghetti meatballs.
I'll
take the corn and the green beans. I'll eat that shit with Katie. I'm fine. I think those things taste good. I don't like that fucking Chef Boyardee shit.
Luna says the guitar lesson dialogue was the same as the game, but it was said a little differently.
Like in his basement, really fucking stoned, sitting on his couch.
I don't know.
Then I'll have some bread and some meatball with a piece of weird Swiss cheese that's been fucking melted until it's 1,000 fucking. Or like Elio's pizza that you could like chuck at someone and like.
No one wants to hear about
Joe.
No one wants to hear about my Braveheart pizza.
No, those things are delicious, dude.
So
I will tell you that. You know how to cook that shit. That's it.
Beefaroni.
David, I was totally going to ask you a question, but I forget now because Joe went on the beefaroni.
I'll give Phil all that food because I know he's going to cook it right. I just eat it out of the can and be totally disappointed and wish I had.
Yeah, you got to doctor that shit up, Joe.
He knows what he's doing. Even in the apocalypse without a microwave, I'm giving that can to Phil.
David, I don't know what I was going to ask you. It was something. Isn't the production good? It was something about that. It was a better question, though. It was a better question.
Did the can of beef ravioli,
I just sent you,
beefaroni look right?
Oh no, the production shots. Those look fucking awesome. I wish I was logged into on my computer so I could put it on. But
yeah, I know. I wish I could share it to you on here, but I can't. But at least I don't know how. But it's only because people in the chat who don't know what I'm talking about, or Joe. I sent
a nasty message about me.
Once again, gentlemen, I'm talking to the chat. But I sent him a couple of pictures from Killers of the Flower Moon. I haven't gotten a chance to like post them or anything yet, but it's
you're showing us
lower.
Not quite lower.
Lower, just a little bit lower.
No, you guys aren't looking at my camera. You guys are looking at my You guys are looking at my second camera.
Oh right, we're not looking at YouTube. We're looking at the studio.
Yeah.
All right. So is that the one where I'm in the car? Is that the one where I'm in the car?
Yeah, I believe so. You can't really see it on that, but we'll try to share it out on.
Oh yeah, there it is on YouTube. You can see that shit just fine.
Yeah, cool.
He knows what he's doing. How dare you, David? He knows what he's doing.
Not always. Not always. Not always.
The coolest picture. And can I give a quick thing about that? Just 2 seconds, Bill.
Please.
More than a quick thing. Plug away, dude.
Okay. Well, here I worked as like background extra for like 11 days on that. But here's the thing: is on that last day, the picture that Phil was showing, where I'm in a car behind an old guy driving a Model T. I hadn't been in a car the whole time, and everybody in the cars was getting pictures of themselves. On the very last day that I was there shooting, they were like, "Okay, we need somebody for a car." So I immediately like jumped up there, and they gave these 2 options. They go the old guy who gets in every fucking picture because they love his look, or Johnny Fuckface over here. And I'm going with the old guy. Like that guy gets in every photo. And then sure enough, this woman who took that picture, she was a dog photographer.
She knows, go after the old dogs or the puppies.
She went after the old dog. So she went after that guy. And so she snapped that picture. It's this awesome, like 4K resolution picture of me in the back of a Model T in like a full 3-piece suit with no beard.
That looks good, dude.
Yeah.
And it's sick, okay? And she sent me a copy of it for nothing. She just gave me the picture.
Oh, that's perfect for your
that
portfolio
picture
and stuff.
better be on your fucking Tinder profile. That fucker will get you laid.
Oh yeah, they'll be disappointed when they see the beard now.
It don't matter. You put that shit up. They don't have to be. Let them be disappointed once you get to the bar. They don't have to be like seriously.
Dude, what's with the boss in the bar?
Then you're already there. Then you're already there. It's too late. She's
Joe,
like, I already wasted an hour getting.
Joe, you have a couple of big.
Hey, listen, dude, you're a good shit, bro.
Dude,
so
stop.
You go ahead and take you tell you got some cordyceps, you take it to the bar, you fucking handle it, all right?
Listen, I don't want to deal with 2 Joe rants here tonight. Stop it, you two. Okay, the one's enough. Okay, so.
Dude, no, that's bad. A couple of beers and it's done.
It's done.
It's done. It's your cousin from Boston. Sammy's.
So to continue in with here, we still keep calls. We still got more calls calling in 781-990-8509. He wants to teach her guitar. We get some good dialogue again between the two of them. And she's zoned out, but you can tell she loves him and she can see that he's happy right there. He tells her the plan of what they're going to get to the hospital, and she's not her peppy self. She's being the quiet one. We get backstory about how the military fucked up the bombing in the building that they're in. He's going to give her a boost to lift up to the floor above there. And
Loved this.
This was the best scene of the entire episode.
No, why?
Because the fucking giraffe was fucking cute as
No.
fuck.
We didn't get to the giraffe yet.
When he lifted her up.
I'm gonna give you. First off, this is kind of like right from the game too. They're in a bus station at this point, not like this old building. And I like how your demolition. He knows that it's a demolition that didn't get bombed, and not a construction that didn't get finished.
Yeah,
that's a nice little point.
It's a little touch. It's
right, but it's a bus station in the game, and she's distracted and doesn't really hear him asking for the ladder in the first place. But still, it's something you have to do in the game repeatedly.
So I'm glad.
Throughout, grab the ladder, give you a boost, help me up, help me down, squeeze through here, go around, unlock that fucking door shit like tested in episode 2.
And it was like when we
All
had
that shit.
It was like when we had the moment
good.
of them climbing over the rooftops and stuff like that.
Yes,
we got Julia Dawn here
using the plank to get across from one rooftop to the other.
I know.
And it's so important to the game players, but unfortunately, this is a cutscene almost ripped from the game, and not so like it belongs here in this scene. Get the ladder for me, and we don't have it really anywhere else, like the helping to get through places because everything's been fucking bombed and destroyed that they might have to get through.
And instead of that, she throws the ladder at him, and she runs after what she sees. She must spot it in the distance. She spots the giraffe in the distance, and I don't know.
You can see it. You can see it through the plastic, right? For a second when Joel gets a bit up the ladder, you see her run away.
Great scene.
You can see this huge shadow in the plastic.
Great scene with the giraffe and all of that. My question is, and I might be dumb asking this question because it seemed real to me. Was that a real giraffe? It seemed like a real giraffe. Or was it a CG? It was CG? It looked really good, though. It was good.
That was Troy Baker, actually.
It was Troy Baker as the giraffe.
Troy Baker. I want to get that mocap money.
It was a real giraffe.
Was it a real giraffe? Really?
Yeah, they are docile, loving, vegetarian, eating.
Are there Hollywood giraffes? No, I
don't know if it was a real giraffe. So what the fuck?
But that's a lot of.
It looked real, dude. It was real enough.
Did they borrow it from
in a video game?
Did they borrow it from the? Did they borrow it from the?
Joel's petting a giraffe.
They borrowed it from the Disney Channel, the Disney Lion King movie. They had like an extra giraffe.
Dude, if there's a giraffe there, eating some shit, right?
It looked pretty fucking real to me.
Where's the fucking lion, the tigers, the bears?
Oh my!
Listen. You know how?
Sorry, David. That was bad.
When there aren't humans to go hunt these motherfuckers, right? You know how quickly cats will fucking breed?
Oh, nice. Sorry, Joe, started to cut you off. And I'm gonna of course take someone in the chat's word just because they agree with my point. He says it's real. They showed pictures on Instagram and Twitter. So it looked it did look real to me.
I know me a real giraffe when I see one, Phil.
See, David, it's real. It's real. I'm believing that one person that said it in the live chat. I'm believing
that. Poor Romeo Anthony said so.
Yeah, he's right.
It's on the internet.
You shut your fuck. I'm not listening to a bunch of people who are screen grabbing shots from the episode and going, see, in the episode,
it's a giraffe.
Picture.
It's a giraffe. Proof.
That's a giraffe tone.
That's proof. Real giraffe.
Did
you see that?
They'll do anything for the right push, dude.
Yeah.
That is a 46-year-old man named Bryce wearing a giraffe's head with a green nose.
Operating a Yoda.
No, it was Conan O'Brien. It was Conan O'Brien wearing a hat. That's what it was. Come on.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, we got a few more voicemails. Let's cut the recap here. Let's get a couple of voicemails.
Dude, honestly, this was my favorite scene in the game.
No,
I really loved this scene in the game.
No, it was really good. It was really good. And General Grievous says it's real too. Okay, so we got 2 people in the live chat say that's empirical evidence, David. 2 people. 2 people in the live chat said it.
Two.
It's proof that two people
His
don't have
name-
object permanence yet.
His name
That's
was
what that
Jeffrey. His name was
even Dolphin Time admits to it being real. Just it looked fake.
now. Now
He
Justin.
doesn't say it's fake. It just looked
Justin,
fake.
it
That
was
means it's real.
It was in fact named Jeffrey the Giraffe. Yeah, and it was Jeffrey the Giraffe.
And it wasn't the Toys R Us giraffe. We swear.
Dolphin says it was an AI generated giraffe. That it was that website that's doing all those fake AI.
Yeah, that giraffe is credited as Chat GPT in the credits.
Exactly. Thank you. I couldn't think of the name of it. Thank you, David. Yep, exactly. Thank you, David. So I'm shocked it wasn't. Yeah, it was a product placement for the Toys R Us making one more comeback, and it's not gonna work.
Yeah, this is just a stupid exploitive thing for The Last of Us to market giraffe dolls for no reason. They're like, we can repurpose these old giraffe dolls from the 1990s.
that we bought from
It's The Last of Us. It's The Last of Us giraffe.
They smell like mildew, like they've been sitting in a warehouse for 20 years.
That's how a giraffe smells. They're natural.
It comes with a free pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Complete
free
with
pack
its
of
own
Yu-Gi-Oh
fungus.
Yeah, real fungus and real giraffe odor. So Chat GPT wrote the episode.
Yeah, GPT wrote it.
Luna says we all know it's real because there's pictures on Twitter, so it's definitely real, right? No giraffes were harmed in the making of this episode. This is area code.
That one that broke its leg, so we had to put it down.
Oh, poor Jeffrey. This is area code 910.
Hey Phil, this is Mantrell, man.
Oh, Mantrell, how's it going, buddy?
Loving the show, loving your content as usual.
Thank you, my friend.
I gotta say though, I kind of agree with Joe, as I normally do. Joe makes some good points, but 10 minutes per episode.
Joe wasn't sure if he would.
Say that. It's gonna go right.
No, I was gonna say Joe wasn't sure if he was gonna like your call yet at the beginning. He's like, oh, he's agreeing with Phil a little bit too much at the beginning here, but okay, he agrees with me. Play all this call. Play it twice.
This could go bad for the rest of the night. It could go right to my head.
Oh yeah. We'll
10 extra minutes per episode would have done them very good. However, I think this season should have been 15 episodes minimum, at least 15 episodes, because I agree with you guys. They skipped too much, and it was way too rushed. So we didn't get to see the development between the two main characters like we did in the game. You know, it was from watching the show. We're like, I get it. They can't.
What was that, Joe? Oh, you're batting.
I'm nodding so fucking hard. I feel like I'm giving a giraffe head.
You're doing like?
So right.
Are you doing your lead singer from Korn impression again? Is that what you're doing?
Just one of those. That's not the same thing.
That's Kid. Is that Limp Bizkit or something?
Wow. You went
no, is that Biscuit or is that?
What's it? I got it wrong. Okay, there's a lot of vodka in this class.
David, I've gotten so much wrong tonight, and if I tried to listen to the end.
Was the lead singer Kristen Dunst or something like that?
No, that's the actress in Spider-Man.
Kirsten Dunst was the lead singer.
That's from Bringing. That's the girl from Bring It On.
Something like that.
That's Fred Durst.
Fred Durst.
Let's get back to the caller.
And bond over time, because in the game it took them a year to get from point A to point B. You know, to the Fireflies. So I get it. You know, time's been taken off the clock, and I guess they bonded over time, but we never saw it, so we didn't get to feel it like we got to feel it in the game. Yep. Now, to answer your question of your poll, did Joe make the right decision? I'm assuming you
that was good enough.
What was that, Joe?
They had a couple of camp night sleepovers. That was good.
Yeah, they had some Chef Boyardee.
Great decision to get Ellie out of there. And here's the thing with that, man. I made this decision the first time I played the game, and it's been years later, and I made the same decision now. Yes, Joel made the right decision. Because if I risk my life for an entire year taking this kid from Boston to
Wisconsin,
I forget where they were.
Wisconsin,
Colorado.
Well, we could have just dug that shit out of their head back in Boston.
Salt Lake City or Colorado? Oh, anyway, whichever one, to the Fireflies. Started my life for a whole year, taking this kid from point A to point B, and then you treat me like absolute shit when I get there, and you kick me out? Okay, no, then that's the last straw. I mean, no wonder, I think Joel came to the conclusion that maybe humanity doesn't deserve a cure. Maybe humanity got exactly what it deserved. because of how we treated the planet, how we treat each other, the whole 9 yards. And I don't blame him. Could humanity use that cure? Absolutely. They could. But when he does something that profound and then you treat him like trash when he gets there, okay, and then you treat him like trash and you kick him out. Okay, yeah, fuck you too. That's my mentality about it. Okay, I'd like to hear what you and Joe have to say about it. If you got any pushback for me, man, I'd love to hear it. You too, Phil. All right, guys.
Oh,
Talk
there
to you
ain't no
later.
pushback. The only thing I would say is the only thing Joel did wrong was he didn't kill those 2 fucking nurses. You kill everybody in that room. I killed everybody in that room. Every fucking time I've gone into that room, everybody has to die. You have the option not to kill those 2 nurses. They're like, oh, you can leave the nurses and the doctor alive if you want, whatever. Like, no, everybody in there dies. If they had let Joel go and here, yes, we're going to kill your daughter. No, too bad. Send him out there, and if he does anything, kill him. Like, Marlene, you don't think I'm coming back to kill you and everybody here? You're about to kill the one person I care about that I just told you I care about. Don't kill her.
To your point, Joe, Marlene 2 seconds earlier was like, "You're not someone I want to cross," or "Oh," so she knows.
Or you're not someone I ever wanted to owe in my.
And
ever.
she ends up taking away someone he's obviously loves, and she can understand
throws
it.
him out, like Mando said, throws him right out into the fucking.
Here's his weapon
street,
back.
Literally, send him out to the highway, to the street. Literally, send him fucking packing to the street. Get him out of here. If he gives you any pushback, fucking kill him. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, no. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. You know what I'm capable of. We said it. We all know what I'm capable of. They said it. You know.
Yeah, John Haymaker. John Haymaker, 100%. Then we're gonna go over to David. John Haymaker. Marlene should have killed Joel when she had the chance.
Yep.
David.
Right there in that room. Right. Boom. Kill him.
Or don't fucking kill Joel, but just wait until you've already opened her head.
Yeah.
And she's
before you go
dead.
talk to him, right? Wait 12 hours.
And then he just goes. Then you could have a great. I mean, I'm not saying that this would be like good because the game is better than this and the storytelling, but I'm just saying in terms of.
Let us hear it before we decide whether or not the game is better than your story.
But it's like, yeah. So it's just like you have her, get her head opened up or whatever, and we as the audience see it, and then in the middle, once the drill goes into her skull, it cuts to Joel waking up. Cuts to Joel waking up. And then they do the same interaction, but he goes like, "Where is she?" And she goes, "She's already in surgery, not prepping for surgery. She's in surgery." Okay.
Stop turning Joe on, David. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like,
so I think that would have been great.
So just keep him locked up. At that point, you have a really emotional scene that's really gonna feel tense and almost Breaking Bad level intense between Marlene and Joel when she has to just tell him, "No, Ellie's gone. Ellie's gone. Yeah. She's already gone." And see what
when he does break in and save everybody, and when he tells her that lie later, she's gonna have a hole in her head. So she'll be like, "Oh, they did it, but they couldn't do it. All right, let's go live in Jackson."
Or he caught them literally. Tell me this wouldn't be interesting, as if, just for the sake of it, indulge me. It goes into her head, right? Something happens with the fucking appliance. Joel's having his interaction. He gets down there. On his way as he's raging, he thinks that she's dead, okay? And he's killing people the entire way down there. He gets into the operating room and sees them in the middle of changing out something because she's still alive. They're about to get further into surgery. And then he kills her. And then she's got this like crazy gash she has to recover. And he tells the 2 nurses to patch her up or get her prepped and, get her ready to go and give me all this shit so I can get out of here. And then they fucking leave.
Yeah. No, or someone in the live chat, John Haymaker, Marlene should have handcuffed him to the bed. So, something. You don't just let John McClane have a machine gun.
There were 2 guys.
Right.
Or walk with the 2 guards and knowing what Joel's capable of. And she knows what Joel is capable of in that situation.
Everybody knows what Joel's capable of, aside from the fucking television audience.
So we see, even I know he was capable of that, Joe. So we see the green field, we see the giraffe. Giraffe's cool. So Joel asks Ellie if the zoo is everything she wanted to, and she's like, ups and downs. And Joel says, we're almost here, but it's going to be a risk. We don't have to go there if you want. We can go back to Tommy and forget all this shit. And this is where we get the early payoff that we get later, the Marlene saying Ellie would want to sacrifice herself for this. My question again, we treaded on this earlier, and I didn't get a chance to reaffirm the question. I'll go to David first, and then over to Joe on this question. I think we all can agree that if it was 100%, there's no chance Ellie wouldn't sacrifice herself. If this is a 50-50 shot, or like a small chance that this could help, does Ellie sacrifice herself for a minor chance, for a roll of the dice, for like a one out of 6 chance that this work? I don't think she does it for that. If the doctor's not sure, if you give me scientific proof that there's actually a big chance of this, I don't think Ellie's a martyr, whatever that word is. I can't say it. I don't think she wants to die to prove a point. But anyways, David, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I don't think she's a martyr for something that isn't a guarantee. But also, it's like, I don't know. When I saw this, I haven't played the game, but
this is why we're going to you last, Joe. Sorry, David.
I expected there to be more of like what Joe was saying, where you see more MRI scans, you see more context clues that lead you to believe that this is something that they could do and could achieve. And I mean, fuck. I mean, you could have had doctors there alongside Marlene explaining to Joel what the surgery would entail and exactly how it's going to go, to make him kind of understand, like, we have a system, we know that this will work.
It was almost like she said, we're gonna take the brain goo out of her, and then we're gonna we're gonna put that in like a replicator and like replicate that stuff and pass it out to people, and it's totally
like,
gonna work.
It's bordering on not that much smarter than what Ellie did, where she just put her blood on a kid's ankle.
100%, David. It's like
bordering on the same.
Have they thought much further past that?
Probably not. Now that they have a second season, hopefully they go, hey, guys, how about we write an episode of television? And then everybody goes, yay! And then they write real story.
Not cliche, not trope.
Okay, a couple of things just before you go to Joe is that I think a big problem with this show, I was going to bring it up another time, but I think, so I don't forget, a big problem with this show is that it was probably getting made around the same time that HBO was throwing all its money into House of the Dragon.
Yep.
The last few episodes of the House of the Dragon probably coincided with the first several episodes of The Last of Us, and so they became very cheap, which is why the last couple of episodes maybe have some budgetary improvements, but it's spotty. And also, they don't film things sequentially most of the time, people. So we don't really know exactly when this shit was filmed. Episode 4 could have been filmed first.
It could have been way different on the production schedule. And
well, and just to say is that might be why season 2 could be the best yet, or should be significantly better, because House of the Dragon's not even coming back for another 2 years.
Yeah, that won't be back till 2025. And before we go over to Joe to ask this question about Ellie, Tom P gave us a super chat donation. Happy finale, guys! I'm tipping you guys $1 for every zombie we saw on this zombie show. $10. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Much appreciated. Let me get my drink to toast you, my friend. And very much appreciate that.
One zombie an episode.
Joe, not even over. And then if we count and they were all in that one episode. Joe, if Ellie doesn't know it's 100%, does she still sacrifice
Absolutely.
herself?
She's a 14-year-old fucking girl.
So she thinks she sacrificed herself
and she should have died a year ago when her fucking friend died. So this is her purpose in life. This is her mission. This is her goal.
So no matter what, she's doing this. Even if the doctor has a spatula and he goes, we're going to go to Spatula City on your brain.
Yep.
Ellie
Joel is at least smart enough to know. Okay, we get a Joel that's very much portrayed as a Joel that's unable to do a whole hell of a lot of thinking for himself after his daughter dies. Right? Before his daughter dies, he's running a business. He's telling his brother what to do. He's managing his daughter's life. He's managing his own life, sort of. After his daughter's died, Tess needs to tell him what to do and how to behave. Ellie needs to do the same.
You could argue that before that, Sarah kind of told him what to do, and
I guess maybe a little bit. Yep.
That he's like John Lennon, where he always needs somebody to help him do something. You always need the Paul or the Yoko, like someone there to motivate him to work. Otherwise, he's just gonna sit around and do nothing and not be able to
Maybe
create
a little,
anything.
yeah. But she absolutely is going for the surgery. And honestly, if you put the doctor in front of Joel,
Spatula City, baby. Thank you for getting
brought,
it, Gord.
And brought MRIs or brought CAT scans and tried to like sell him on it.
Yeah.
I think you would find the same reaction, and that would only put your doctors in jeopardy.
Right.
Immediately.
He would just take a little longer for him to kill you.
I think that what they needed to do was, once that stun went off, put 2 rounds in Joel and take the little girl, because, you know, we don't know who this guy and this little girl was, and if we need to kill the little girl in 5 minutes, we'll do that too.
So we're gonna yada yada through we're gonna yada yada through a little bit of this, and keep the calls coming. We got a text, and we got a few more voicemails to get to, but we've talked about a lot of what we're about to talk about here. So we see them walking through the army camp, and it's the soon after we get on the same timetable. Joel talks about. This is where he tells the story about how he got his. You want to know how I got these scars?
We get a scene like this, but it might have been like at the school or at some checkpoint somewhere.
And he tells her after Sarah died, he tried to kill himself.
We don't get that.
By
That's
the way,
brand new.
I know you're gonna yada yada over it, but I have to just voice this because it was driving me crazy during the episode. That scene where they sit and he tells her about that was like my least favorite scene.
Yes, mine too.
Because it's the most awkwardly set up delivery of this thing, where he literally just goes like this.
Out of the blue.
He just goes, "It was me. I was the one who did it." And then they both just walk over like, "Okay, this is our second mark. Let's go ahead and
sit down.
Sit down.
Yep. It's time for a sit down conversation.
No, I agree. It was you saw the activation in their minds to go to their mark, and
I saw the first AD go
and move.
And General Grievous says, Ellie is 14. Can she be consent for her own health, to be honest? I mean, if you say...
No.
Is this a normal world where those are the same kind of rules, though?
Definitely not.
Yeah, for a child?
For someone that grew up like Ellie. Someone that grew up like Ellie that could probably make her own decisions.
No, she can't. She's 14.
She seems more capable than Joel.
Dude, in the
decisions.
apocalypse, you need kids to be able to do more than they do now. They need to be able to do more than just scroll
fairness,
Facebook.
In fairness, I'm going to poo-poo my own point. It wasn't too long ago. It was an episode and a half ago. We saw her rub blood in a walker's wound. So she's a fucking moron. She's a kid. She's a fucking kid. She's a kid.
She's a fucking child. She's reading pun books like it's fucking Hawthorne.
Yeah, she's a kid. She's a 14-year-old kid. I agree. I take back my objection, Joe. She says time heals wounds, and I agree. This was clunky. It was clunky dialogue. It was edited weird. I thought the actors. This wasn't about the actors' performances. This is on, I guess, directing.
Yes, say it.
Directing and editing, and they hung on shot. In writing, but I think my complaint right here, writing is a given, Joe. Yeah. But what I'm talking specifically about is that they hung on the shots a little long. The way it was cut was clunky, and I think that's what David was hinting at too, in a way. Just the way it was cut, it looked like they took the wrong take. They didn't have the right takes. They took a practice take or something. Like it was weird.
Yeah, we're losing the light, you guys. Let's hurry this up.
It was something like that, David. It was like the end of the day. They needed to get a quick take. Even the way Pedro said it, he wasn't fully in character. He was kind of smiling and out of character and being Pedro more than Joel.
Guys, yeah, let's linger on these shots so we can montage the action.
David?
And here's the thing, is that's for people who don't know, is it's just like when you're on a film set, a lot of the time, especially when it's a high budget thing like this, and now that they film digital and not on actual film, they will film the rehearsal. Okay, so they'll just go ahead and run through it. Let's just give it a dry run, see how it goes, and we'll fucks with the camera and everything like that. It felt like they had to speed it up because they were probably losing the light or something like that. They happened to film a rehearsal. The rehearsal was okay, and then they used that.
Yeah.
What is that light called? Like the sweet light, this
golden hour.
The golden hour.
It's like an hour.
It's your golden hour.
It was like it's like an hour before noon to like 3 o'clock or something like.
before the sun goes down.
It's sunrise from like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
To 7:30 p.m.
Yeah, I was reading about it. There's a book I read. The guy that made Dog Day Afternoon and Murder on the Orient Express, and I forget. I can never remember his fucking name, but I read his book that he wrote about making movies and setting up shots and all this shit. And it was really good. I really wish I could remember his name. I got it around here somewhere.
Kenneth Branagh.
No, not Kenneth Branagh. The original Murder on the Orient Express. The guy that did Dog Day Afternoon.
I know.
Sidney Lumet.
Kenneth Branagh did a remake of it.
Sidney Lumet, Joe.
Sidney Lumet.
Sidney Lumet.
Yes. Good job, Phil.
Good job, Google. So I'm not taking
Sidney
credit.
Lumet. Yes, and I read his book. And he talked about that golden hour, and you're absolutely right.
And exactly, I am thrown. When all I heard was Joe say the golden shower rule.
Oh okay. Yeah, the golden shower is the best shower hour of them all.
Okay, so
ask Donald.
So they get on the same page in the timetable. She says time heals all wounds. She says I want some more shitty puns. Apples. What was it? The apocalypse. Well, let's make jokes like there's no tomorrow. I thought the moon rock. What was it? The moon. Why is the moon better than the Earth? Because it has because it's meteor. I don't even know what the fucking puns were. But
yeah, it's meaty.
Oh, why is it heavier? Because it's meteor.
Yeah. Why does it taste better?
And this is the one part of all of this
that fill you up more.
That I thought was I forgot about the last one.
More meat,
the green grapes meaty.
Guys, that pun cost $86,000 to film.
That's why they couldn't film the other scene. They needed to get those puns right. They needed to get the pun from 3 different angles. They had a
delivery
and
the reaction,
and they had a license out the pun book. You know, that's like they don't.
True, yeah. Every episode we use it, we gotta pay the
pun company. Yeah,
you gotta pay the troll toll. You get inside that boy's hole. You know?
You have to.
Yeah, it's always sunny. That show is so fucking good.
Julia, I will definitely talk about it. I've enjoyed the first 2 episodes of the season. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want Joe to poo on my parade. But I generally like The Mandalorian for what it is. It's cheesy, fun Star Wars goodness, and I thought the first 2 episodes were fun. Baby Yoda's cute. Shut up, Joe. Okay, so we come back in. We see what I do think is kind of interesting. Don't give me that look. Baby Yoda's cute. At least it's a puppet or animatronic.
It is a very cute gremlin.
It's a very cute animatronic Mugwai. So come on.
Mugwai.
It's a
Mugwai / gremlin. A hairless Mugwai.
It looks like a cross between.
It's a hairless Mugwai.
Yeah,
it is a hairless.
It's a hairless Mugwai, but green like a gremlin. So
sorry, Rick Baker.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. Sorry, Favreau.
Rick Baker's out. Troy Baker's in.
I did think it was kind of cool the way that they showed the Fireflies sneaking up on them from behind while they were doing the pun jokes, and you could kind of see them creeping up behind them. And they steal Ellie and they knock out Pedro, who Pedro should have like 17,000.
That was actually done really good. I like that.
Yeah, I like how they snuck in the shot. I like when shows do that. The Karate Kid did that actually really well too, where you see Daniel-san in the foreground of a shot talking to his mother. You can see the Cobra Kai kids out through the window back by there. You can see a couple times in that movie they use that sort of I guess not a rack focus because they don't focus in on them, but you can just see them in the foreground there. So we come back in with some white curtains and Joel is waking up and he's looking around. And to David's point, imagine him waking up at this point. And I know it's not in the game, but if we're just talking about simple storytelling from a television standpoint, if he wakes up and Marlene tells him Ellie's dead, it's some serious Twilight Zone motherfucking crazy drama. How does he handle that?
Phil, in the game.
Yes.
In the game, they have just finished killing
Welcome, Maddie.
runners and then a group of clickers, a bunch of runners, a group of clickers, and 2 fucking bloaters.
And
then they progress through the subway area a little further, and Ellie can't swim.
Later,
and
Mad
they
Sinister.
fall into this rushing, fucking flooded subway water.
Like the Russian from Pine Barrens?
Rushing.
He bathes in salt and ice water.
And she drowns.
Oh.
So when he pulls her out of the fucking water, he's giving her mouth-to-mouth and Heimlich, or trying to get her to fucking breathe and get the water out, or express the water from her lungs and shit. That's when the Fireflies walk up and make him stop, and then knock him the fuck out.
Okay.
And so when he wakes up, it fits Phil. It fits perfect. No, she drowned.
Right. So he just thinks that she could be gone anyway. Did
Right?
you?
Everybody is dead in that place because Marlene didn't lie to Joel.
Damn, I have to make the channel louder. It's like Netflix. Are we too soft? Do we need to raise the volume up? Do we need to get louder?
You gotta go to the bar.
Gotta go to the bar. We gotta get louder, dude. Louder,
dude. He's a good shit, dude.
I'm always afraid we're too loud. Too fucking loud, dude. Put the remote on the docking station.
Yeah. Put remote on docking station, cocksucker.
Russian cocksucker. He's a Czechoslovakian. He's an interior decorator.
He's like, there's some kind of fucking Russian Green Beret.
But his apartment looked like shit. Joe would go on a rampage. He would absolutely go on a ridiculous rampage. Dolphin says, yeah, he was built in the movie. Very weird seeing him in that role after I realized it 10 years. Oh, sorry. I was getting in the middle of a conversation. Maddie, it's great to have you in the live chat. Have a good night, Mad Sinister.
Let's go, motherfucker chat. Keep your conversations.
I do, Maddie. I do have a PayPal. It's one of my emails. I think you could find it in the I'll throw it in the live chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Send us all your money.
Yep.
To PayPal, to Patreon.
Joe needs a baby Yoda toy. We need to get Joe.
He needs a giraffe.
I also got Venmo if you have Venmo, Maddie.
I want a giraffe.
Joe wants a Jeffrey the giraffe toy.
Toy.
You want a real giraffe?
Katie and I want a real giraffe.
Get the crow.
So we bought a giraffe.
I want Troy Baker in a giraffe helmet.
You just want,
his green gloved hand through the mouth to get the tongue.
That sounds kinky, David.
That sounds dirty.
Kinky.
It's dirty.
That might be the most expensive of our wish list here.
So yeah,
nothing compares to that joke pun fee that we have to pay.
No, we're gonna have to start paying royalties. Okay, so Marlene says, "Don't worry about anything, Joel. I didn't want to owe you anything, and I can't believe you got her across the country. But don't worry, she's gonna be going into surgery soon. She'll be fine.
Don't worry, we're gonna kill that bitch now.
We'll be fine." He's like, "Surgery." He's like, "Surgery? What do you mean?" And then she starts blubbing out some techno babble about we gotta cut
It don't matter what she said. Like you should have said, yeah. We're on her arm, dude. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they just go back and forth with it. He's like she techno babbles him where she's like we're gonna take the who's and what under the wootsy switch and we're gonna take her brain matter and crush this here.
But cordyceps grows in the brain.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm so a little drunk, but that's really funny the way you just really jumped into that.
But the course,
you never hear Joe. Never.
Oh my god.
Cordyceps grow in the brain. It's
But
wait, there's more.
I'm no big city lawyer.
Yeah, that was your version. That was your version of the I'm no big city lawyer. I'm
no big city surgeon, but doesn't the cordyceps grow in the brain?
Is that the lawyer from where My Cousin Vinny or whatever? And remember, cordyceps grow in the brain. Cordyceps grow in the brain.
In the brain.
In the brain.
in the rain.
No, jump the rise.
Joe, no, you got to do your Joe Pesci now. What?
Okay.
Okay, I don't know. The two youths. Okay. Oh my goodness, that's some good.
I can good ass kicking. I can be honest with you.
Dude, I know he's not as popular. Some people might not know him as much, but your impression of the lawyer, he's also the he's in a lot of stuff, but he's also in that Pauly Shore movie, Son-in-Law and stuff like that. And he's the coach in the Mighty Ducks. He's the bad coach in the first Mighty Ducks. Your impression of that was like spot on. You sounded exactly like him.
Dabney Coleman from the '80s. He's that of the '90s.
Yeah, you say he's great. He's great. He's a great. He could have been. I'm not saying he could have been cast, but if he played the dude in Caddyshack, like he would have done a great job in that role. Like
Ted Knight.
Yeah,
Ted Knight,
who did a good job in that movie, but that guy would have done a good job. He can play that kind of dink character.
Yeah, he could. For sure.
So yeah, we get some technobabble. Marlene finds out that says like, Joel, I don't give a fuck about you caring about Ellie because I was friends with her mom, and her mom asked me to like help keep her alive, and I'm killing her today. So bye.
Yeah, and I'm about to cut that bitch's head off.
And she was like, she was so happy about it. I'm gonna cut that bitch
Don't act
off.
like you got the lease on fucking tragedy.
Yeah, don't take the high fucking road here, motherfucker. And Joel says, she says, I don't have a choice. And Joel says, I don't have a choice either. And then Joel gets the Jack Bauer look on his face, and he's about to go full end of the season, the last episode of every season of 24, when Jack Bauer goes Jack Bauer. He goes full Jack Bauer, and like she sends him out knowing, and we talked about this before, knowing what this motherfucker's capable of. She sends him out with like these two distracted guards,
unbound.
Yeah, just like take him to the road, leave him. He can't find his way back. Turn him in circles. Turn him in circles a few times. And just
give him a fucking obstacle, guys. With good writing, you give your fucking heroes an obstacle to overcome. Ellie's unconscious, but Joel isn't, and his hands aren't tied. Imagine if he was handcuffed and he kicked their ass without his hands. You know what I mean? Like, or just like headbutted the shit out of him and then like broke his own hand to get his hand out, and then all that.
Yes.
All of that.
Yeah. Added way more intensity to that, other than them just going, "Hey!" They're like guards from Idiocracy. They're like,
"Why do you keep stopping?
Why
Don't you know we should shoot you?"
Joe, several times tonight you've looked to David like Joel looking to Ellie, proud that he's been listening to your rants. You're like, I'm proud, David. Yes, David. Yes, I am proud. Let's play Boggle. And eat some.
He's gonna beat me at Boggle.
He's totally gonna beat you in Boggle. He would beat. That's the only game he could beat you in.
No, you'll beat me in Boggle.
I wasn't bad at Boggle.
I keep coming up with the same 3-letter word. Run.
Yeah, you're like Jackie Jr. Yeah, you're Jackie Jr. You're playing bum ass.
Exactly.
That is exactly what. Okay, so she also gives one of her red shirt henchmen Ellie's mom's knife. Is like, give this back to Joel when you get to the thing. Like the minute you turn your back on him and you leave him on the road, give him a weapon he can use to kill you. So make sure you do that. So even if he got that far, still like hand him the weapon at that point. Not tie him up, not bound him, and like we've seen shit like this in shows before, even though it's cheesy. I forget what it was. Maybe it was this earlier in the season or something I watched recently where someone gives someone a knife to be able to cut themselves. You should be able to cut yourself out of there in about an hour. I think that was Joel earlier in the season, like that let somebody go and he like gave them some way to cut themselves out. And he said you can saw yourself out of there in a little while. It might be a different show, but
there might have been. I don't think it was Joel, but it was somebody did that. I don't remember who.
No, it was someone to Joel. Maybe it was someone that had him captured and was like letting him go or something. I'm making that up, but I had a fleeting memory of something like that happening earlier in the season.
I watched. Yeah, no, something else. That was something else. So.
Either way, they could have done something like that with him, where you let him have to gnaw his way out of some duct tape or some shit like that.
I've repressed the entire season already, so I don't even know where I'm at.
Yeah, you're ready to play the game at this point. So he marches them down, heads down these stairs. He does a little two-step.
He keeps pausing down the hall. He stops moving. Come on, keep moving. Yeah. If he gives you any trouble, kill him.
Yeah.
If he gives you any trouble,
that's trouble.
To me, I stopped walking. Boom, 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 boom. Done.
Trouble.
No. Nobody said to stop walking. Like, you can read exit signs. You could get out of a fucking building before the apocalypse, Joel. Sorry, that fucking killed you. You were on the stairs. No need to stop in the middle of the stairs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm with you right there.
I don't feel like walking all the way out to the fucking highway. Why didn't that bitch go? Bitch, Molly, you take the fucking gun and you walk his ass out to the highway. That motherfucker's 5 miles away, bitch. I am not walking out to that fucking highway. I'm shooting this motherfucker in the fucking stairwell and watching his body don't off of the rails that I fucking throw it over.
Yeah, Joe, he
Are
caused.
you kidding me?
We'd be making up the story that if we were told to bring David out,
He threw a punch.
He tried to escape.
He threw a punch.
Yeah.
He kicked Jimmy right in the fucking balls.
He did.
Poor Jimmy ain't gonna be able to have fucking cordyceps babies now.
Yep.
I didn't even have to say he punched somebody. It's just like he reached for my gun.
Poor Jimmy won't be able to kill his wife with the new abortion anymore.
Speaking of, way to bring back
Joe. A recall from earlier.
Yeah, way to bring back the joke that didn't work the first. You can do it one more time, Joe.
Great Family Guy.
Yeah,
dude.
here we go. That's totally Family Guying it up. So he marches and he stops and heads down the stairs, and he
horrible misogyny.
He turns it around. He does the 2-step, and he ends up killing these 2 people. One guy's like, "Where's Ellie?" And the guy's like, "Oh no," and he goes, "I don't have time for this," and he just shoots him. And then Joel goes in full Terminator mode as the music comes in, and we get this music montage that we talked about. This Joe said it was right for the game. I felt like
but this was too montagey also, but there were certain parts of it that were done I needed to see.
Yeah, this was fun. This was a fun little moment. I thought the music wasn't quite the right fit, and the game players will be like, it was the music from the game.
No. The game players are kind of going to love this moment too. This is why I like this moment. And there was things about this that the game players are going to fucking have hard-ons about. Like I have a hard-on.
And he shoots everything. Guys surrender, and he stabs them, and he's just going full Terminator 1.
Right, and it's not just about that, though. It's about he drops weapon after weapon and picks up new weapon and picks up new weapon. That shit's important for the gameplay of this particular game and shit that's been left out through the season. Bullets are rare. He mentions it earlier in the episode. I ain't bringing this gun because I don't got any bullets for it. We ain't going to find bullets for it. This gun's useless, so I'm leaving it in the floor here.
Joe, and to your point, I only noticed that once.
No. He went through a submachine gun, M16 or what AR-15 or whatever the fuck it's called. He went and then he picked up a pistol. Then he used his knife. Even starting with the fucking stun bomb that got thrown, which is a call from the game too, because you make those as Joel. There's a lot of good stuff that calls from the game in this montage, and it looks like the setting exactly like the hospital setting from the I wanted to say this earlier too, and I completely forgot. Right when there's at the very beginning, when Ellie and Joel they're leaning on a railing right around the time of the giraffe, and they're alone, and Joel comes out and they talk for a few seconds. That building top with it looks exactly like the game building top that they have that exact fucking conversation on during the giraffes. These kind of moments are what the game players like me, that's what is keeping me interested in this show. Their ability to recreate what they recreated to put in the game, because they had to kind of film it all and then they put it in the game.
Dude, that's what I was saying though. Back when I was calling in on some of the earlier episodes, this show kind of gets off on all the stuff that's the easy stuff to implement, where they go hey, let's not worry about the good character development or writing a scene well. Let's worry about it visually. Ellie picks up the same porn bag.
Yep, but she does, and it's an important character moment, and informs you on her age and maturity level. Right?
Well, okay, but I'm saying, yeah, okay, for 8 seconds.
You weren't supposed to agree.
No, I'm just agreeing to go continue what I was saying. So
yeah, he was agreeing to shut you up.
Agreeing to shut you up, right? So, but it's just it would be as if like Linda Ronstadt or whatever was like in the game or something, and then that song comes on, and then all the fanboys are like, "Oh my god, I can't."
That's exactly what happened earlier in the season. There's songs that have played that were important to play.
And see, that part isn't bad necessarily, but it's like, guys, why don't you also incorporate the good scenes, the good dialogue? You know,
they do though. It's so much of it. The dialogue, conversations, complete conversations, ripped straight from the game. They don't change it.
Really?
They don't focus on new dialogue. Yes, the conversation about I've lost everybody, Joel, except you.
Oh, that part. No.
Like
that.
The shit on the balcony before the giraffes. The shit with don't scare them. The shit with Marlene.
No, that part feels like the game, though. The part that, like you said, this is what you said, is that the shit that feels good is a direct pull from the game. But the shit that isn't good
is what they wrote new.
Is D&D from Game of Thrones. It's just we're going off script here. We're just trying to fill the gaps.
With few exceptions, like in my opinion, episode 3 is the exception to that in the openings of episodes 1, 2, and this one.
Listen,
but those are small exceptions, and aside from those exceptions, you are 100% correct, David.
Well, see, let's move on from that point.
Okay, so yeah,
those are small exceptions.
We'll
you're
leave
right. The rest of the dialogue and things they focused on, the stuff that wasn't ripped from the game, didn't do well. It didn't play well. It felt like
now Michael in the live chat says they had to make creative decisions on what to leave in and what to create new for the series and the games. Dolphin says this show missed the most important part in the development of the bond between Ellie and Joel. It was rushed. Luna says what's missing is the bonding action scenes, like the drowning scene.
Yes.
And it's the giraffes. There is giraffes. There's always giraffes. So let's get into this scene really quick. Joel goes Terminator mode. He gets into the room where the doctor's
they
there.
Don't focus on any of those kind of scenes.
And we talked about this a lot earlier, but the doctor brings a scalpel to a gunfight and goes, drop the gun. I have a scalpel. I'm gonna do what I need to do to cut this child open. And Joel just shoots him, and then he grabs Ellie and carries her out of there. And as Joe said, he does apparently, I'd have to rewatch it again, leave the two nurses alive. And
he tells them to turn around.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to Jesse James them in the back.
He should have. He should have absolutely killed the two of them, because just like fucking, you don't know who else. You know need people alive to say it was Joel fucking Miller and Ellie something or other.
Because of the rule of threes for all the filmmaking people out there, I was going to laugh my ass off if he beat the shit out of one nurse, put a knife in her mouth, and brought out a map and goes, point to where we are, and it better match what your fucking friend says.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Because he kept doing that with any two groups of people. He would beat the shit out of one, and then he would go, now you guy with one eyeball and a knife in his stomach,
David,
where the fuck am I? And then he would go,
and then he'd always kill both of them and go, I don't care. We don't have time for this.
I believe.
He doesn't kill the old couple.
No, you're right. He does not kill the old couple. Okay, so he carries Ellie out, who's still out cold, down the elevator into the garage. Marlene's there and with a gun. You're like, you can't keep her safe. She'll get infected. Someone will get infected because you didn't allow us to take a 20% chance to hive some brain fluid out of Ellie. No.
20%? You're fucking generous, dude.
5%
might be worth it.
5% chance, 3% chance, whatever. Fucking bullshit. So again, Marlene, for some reason, hesitates here to shoot Joel in the situation because does she need to make sure Ellie's still like in one piece to be able to still do this thing so she doesn't shoot him maybe? Because he sneaks a gun under Ellie and he shoots her, but they cut it in a weird way where they have it seem like he might have left her alive, and then they cut to Ellie waking up in the back of the car.
So that cut is exactly the same in the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of liked it, and
that play works exactly the same. But there's no part of me ever, even in the show watching it now, that thought, especially the way they've done everything with this show and cut away before you see it.
Right. So, but we did eventually get to see it. He tells Ellie wakes up and says,
"No, we don't."
I mean, they flash back to him shooting Marlene, and he doesn't kill her at first. She says, please let me go. Please let me go. And then he points the gun at her, and he goes, no, you'll chase after me always, and he shoots her dead.
Did we see her shoot her, or did we see the flashback of him then just walking over to the car and putting her,
We-
hearing a bang.
No,
hearing a bang.
We see him shoot her, and then we see him
With the gun. We saw the gun?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What it was.
From underneath.
I remember right.
David,
He pulled
settle
up
the.
her gown
Joe,
so
shut
you
up.
could see the gun.
Shut up, Joe, and let David solve the argument.
You guys, okay, so like the very first time we see it,
He's so
we see him
upset with
standing there. She's got the jump on him. Okay, you hear a bang, so you're led to believe that. What do you fucking say? What are you saying?
No, I'm yelling at Joe. You're fine, David. Keep going.
All right. So we hear a bang, okay, and then it cuts to him driving. Okay, it's just him driving, and he's got tears kind of welling in his eyes. So you're led to believe false, like a red herring, like, oh my God, they killed Ellie or something like that. Then it cuts back.
It cuts back and shows him shooting her.
Underneath, just like he has a gun underneath her gown, and Marlene is shot. And then it cuts from that to him laying her down in the car. Then it cuts back to the car again with her kind of waking up. Then it's like after they have a discussion, like, is Marlene okay or whatever, you know, she turns away from him. Then it cuts back to that scene of him walking back over once she's in the car, and he just goes, you'll always
keep
tracking her down anyway, and then they shoot her.
And then we do see him.
We do see him
in
her
both
get shot
cases.
in
We see the gun under Ellie, physically see the gun shoot under Ellie, and then we see him point the gun at Marlene when she's down on the ground bleeding, saying, "Please don't kill me." And we see him shoot.
That point we saw
the only two times that we really, at least for me, that there's something about it that looked
I'm
off.
right about one. Yeah.
It was like the shooting of Marlene in the head and shooting the doctor in the head were the two times that we saw somebody actually get shot without it cutting away eventually. You know what I mean?
But the belly shot on Marlene we did not see.
They cut away. They cut away from that.
And let this be a lesson to you, officer. Do not ask us for eyewitness testimony.
Not Joe and I. Not Joe and I.
Any of the three of us probably, because I guarantee you we're all probably wrong at least a little bit.
And but
I'm the most right out of the wrong.
You just might be.
I think I am.
He tells her another Sarah story after.
I'm not going to argue with you about that, David.
And
I think you might be too.
And we flash back to shooting Marlene and shoots her dead. And we go back to the.
Hell yeah! Fuck you, bitch. You'll just. I let you live. You live my ass. Why did you let those fucking nurses live? Those nurses are going to go tell everybody. It was that bitch from Boston. That bitch from Boston.
It's always the bitch from Boston, Joe. And he's like,
don't let anybody in that hospital live.
And
fucking in Utah. You kill everybody in Utah on your way back to Wyoming. Are you fucking kidding me?
Not one Mormon left alive.
No.
Not one anything left alive.
Every Mormon was injured in the filming of this. So we see the truck that they're in breaks down eventually after Ellie's waking up, and they end up taking the walk. Pedro is, Joel is really trying to push. He's trying to be happy and stuff. And he tells her another Sarah story, and she's not okay with it. You can see the look on her face as she knows some shit's up. And he's like, you two would get along, but you're different. And he's like, she's more girly. And I mean, yeah. And he's just pushing and pushing. And she says, wait. Like she was about to say, don't call me your daughter. I'm not your daughter here. And she tells him about the first time that I think she's trying to elicit him to tell the truth about what happened. She said, you asked me about the first time I killed somebody. And she tells a story about her best friend, how
you didn't kill that bitch. She was a fucking zombie.
Well, put her out of a misery.
That bitch killed you. That bitch almost killed you.
Should have had a flash there. You should have had a flash that we didn't even see in that episode because we didn't see it then. You should have had a quick flash of the zombified chick coming at her and then her blowing her brains out right before she said it. And she goes, the first person I killed was Riley. Okay. Just something to give a little bit of like, we're not cutting away from this. And this is a thought that lives in her brain that you can use at any point throughout the show to cut back to. So anytime she falls in love again, if that person's in danger, she sees Riley's image getting blown away. They did it on The Walking Dead, and The Walking Dead sucks ass. Okay?
David, so it would only take a second too. Like it would only take one frame of a shot.
Yeah,
you see how quick that shit grows, right? So like maybe even a shot of like both their arms grow a little bit, and then why isn't yours growing anymore?
How
The
about
fuck is
every
wrong
time?
with you?
How
And
about
she
every
gets mad at
time
him.
she she thinks about it, she turns her head and she is like doing this kind of Rick Grimes style, kind of finger pinching the nose. She's, oh no, and then it cuts to Riley, like Riley doing like a weird click or jolt or something.
I know they didn't show that stuff in the DLC as well, and I'm sure it was fun in the DLC to play what you played as. But from a television TV standpoint, I almost feel like they cut. If they were to give us a whole episode of that DLC episode with Riley and Ellie, I feel like I didn't get the payoff, which is the most interesting, dramatic part of that is Riley and the process of turning as Ellie's perfectly fine. Like that's.
Why didn't we get a whole episode of just Ellie and Joel?
We've got one. We got one.
Yeah, we got one. They
I
were
feel like we didn't get any. I'm
no,
sorry.
we got one.
Oh, my mistake. My bad.
You have a bad memory. We've established tonight, Joe.
I must have forgot all.
You
all
also said you
time.
didn't. You also forgot you liked last week's episode earlier.
Dude, that did not happen.
It did. Let's finish this episode off, and then we got some.
I said I liked it.
You did.
Right?
Okay, so she's.
But that opinion was, grown.
Like a
over
fungus.
The next 2
your
hours,
Joe's opinions
come down
grow
to a
like
6.5,
fungus.
or like a 7 or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Come on now.
You're growing like a fungus.
David, how do you remember it?
So, don't put. Don't put.
No.
Don't
We
bring
decided
David into this.
That he's got the best memory of the three of us right now. So
for the show, we can't guarantee he was listening to our show at that point in time. No, we can't.
I re-listened to the whole thing. Okay, I love watching these reviews and recaps, even especially when I'm not in them. But
Exactly, Shorty. Exactly, Shorty. He's still complaining. So, so we come back. We come back. Exactly, Shorty. So we come back, and after she tells the story, she's like, Tess died, Marlene died, and Joe's like, I won't die. I'm never dying. I'm never dying. Don't you worry. And
I know what it is.
And she says, randomly, she switches the subject like she's an interrogator.
Wait. I'm not forgetting. I'm not forgetting it. When did we have an episode with just the two of them?
It was no. We'll talk about that, Joe.
I'm not forgetting anything.
Joe,
tell me.
Hold that off.
He's wrapping it up.
We're not wrapping it up quite yet. Next week, we're doing a review of the whole season, episode by episode, and talking about spoilers. We'll talk about that next week, Joe, so I can do my research. You're putting me on the spot of, I don't remember which episode it was, but it was the episode after Kansas City. There was one episode that was just basically focused just on Joel and Ellie. Stop with your looks.
Oh, the one when he gets stabbed? The one where he gets stabbed.
Oh, I don't know. You was stabbed? Like,
where they leave from his brother's place. Wait,
I forget which one. That's what I'm saying. Let's talk about this next week when we can do research and answer about it properly. But there was one episode
where Sam and Fuckface come in.
So anyway,
Sam and Henry.
Joel says yada 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 and randomly switches, and she says she asks him, "Is there anything you're not telling me about the Firefly situation?" And he says, "No, it's the absolute truth." And General Grievous says,
"That's exactly how he put it."
And General Grievous says, I did like the finale, just the two of us. And I hear you, Joe. It's hard to remember all the episodes because some were mediocre. Exactly. So Joe blends them all into, and he can't remember the moments.
Because there is no episode where it's just the two of them.
There was one episode that was basically just the two of them.
No, basically, just is not just the two of them.
You might be right, David.
Sam and Fuckhead.
Because it's the episode, I think, if I'm thinking right, just to quickly guess, is the one where like they hit the roadblock and Joel kind of looks underneath the semi. And
correct. So that episode has Kathleen in it. Has Kathleen doing bad shit to the doctor. Has Sam and fucking Henry, and has all that other shit going on in episode 4. Same thing then with episode 5. And then episode 6, we have the Inuits. We have the mess outside in episode 7. We're back in Jacksonville. Episode 8. Come on.
The traditional method of this show, from what I can tell, and the reason why it's easy to conflate them is because since like nothing happens in a lot of the episodes, it's hard to forget. It's easy to forget. But I'm saying it's usually like half Joel and Ellie, and then they meet another group of people, just like this was, where it's like half Joel and Ellie, and then they meet a group of people, and then it ends with Joel and Ellie. That's like their method of telling.
Moving the focus
now. I want to talk a little bit about how this show did in the ratings. The season was well received. The first episode had like a 0.588, which is in million viewers. And then the second episode went up to a 0.633. And then the third episode, 0.747, then jumped up to a 991. And then episode 5 was a 382 because that was the episode that aired on a Friday night, so the ratings got kind of weird on that one. But then jumped right back up to an 841, and then the last 2 episodes, 7 and 8, have both been 1.083 and 1.039.
Is that down?
No, it's up. The episode 8 was down from 7 a little bit. 7 was the all-time high. Episode 7 had the highest rating so far, and it'll be curious to see if the season finale tops episode 7. So we got a few more voicemails and texts to get to before I let you guys go. So let's go to area code 516.
Hey guys, first of all, like the episode. Generally like the last 2 episodes. And this comment is more about the entire series and the conversation that you guys have been having in the show so far today that I've been listening.
Maddie says, "Phil, I love you, but Joe is right." I don't even know. You can agree with Joe. That's fine. That's fine.
Luna says the same thing.
Oh, I love you too, Luna and Maddie.
Dude, tonight.
It's been
I don't want to be a dead horse when it comes to this like lack of infected thing, but there is something that's been bugging the hell out of me that I wanted you guys to have a conversation about, which is, especially because I've listened to the official podcast, I really get the sense that the creators of the action doesn't add drama or that it's a load of, and I just think that is a load of absolute bullshit. Like, action can give you tension and drama and.
Yep.
And so I'll get to that
especially
one second.
Especially in this game, that is where it all comes from. You have such incredible moments where they get split up and they're working to get back to each other. Like, there's incredible moments there's a moment where Joel goes to clear the way and he has to give her the rifle and she has to take shots at people to have his back so he can get through to take care of to basically just murder these 8 people that are in the way.
Now, Joe,
there's all sorts of great action that informs upon their relationship, that builds their relationship, that we didn't get. We got no character building or relationship building between the 2 of them. We got very little, and the reason for that is because they decided they didn't know how to write it, I think, and so they decided to focus on other characters, other scenes, and other snippets that would build the world as a whole for the viewer and for the gamer who didn't get that, right? But they took out all that action and they didn't replace any character or relationship building for Ellie and Joel. That is missing from the entire episode.
They just
series.
assumed people would have them. I just want to explain.
And because of that, he mentions the tension too. It removes a large part of the tension. Like when you're trying to sneak from one part of a map to another part of the map without getting eaten because you only get 2 fucking bullets and no spiked baseball bat to be working with or some shit. Like, it's pretty tense, and that builds the tension. And like every time you see Ellie's fucking head get ripped off, that builds your connection to her because you want to prevent that with everything so you can proceed to the next chapter of the fucking game and get the next story. And they remove all of that from us. And so that tension is gone. You are absolutely correct, caller.
And we'll finish the callers call in a second here. Julia said, I don't know what those numbers meant. Basically, there were millions of viewers. Like 0.588, I believe, is like that's 500,000 viewers. And the last 2 episodes, and I think the live viewers, how many people watched it and stuff. So, anyways, let's we'll answer Luna's question too in the chat when we give our ratings for this episode and ratings for the overall season. So start thinking about that, guys, at the end here. So area code 516.
Dramatic character moments. I can't even believe. Oh my god, my watch went off. I can't believe this character did this thing in the heat of the moment. Even famously, like Breaking Bad or Chernobyl, like those are like famous dramas, but they have a lot of scenes of physical danger and outright action, more so than this show. And like they didn't pull punches there, but this show does when it's a post-apocalyptic zombie story. It just doesn't really make sense. They say that friendships are forged in flames, and I think they could have done that with the relationships in this story as well, which they which they do in the game. Like in the game, right? Like those action sequences have moments where Joel has to save Ellie's life, and those moments build their relationships just as much, if not more than pun books. But the creators seem to have this belief that it'd be cheap or pulp or sort of just the expectations that people have of the genre, and they wanted to subvert that. But I think they have enough things that subvert expectations within the core story.
Oh, don't say those with subvert.
And I gotta
subvert
the
expectations.
That point
it's true. No,
well
it's true. It's a good point. It's a good point.
Because that's exactly what they did with The Walking Dead, and that's exactly
they
what
Ryan Johnson the show
Dead.
for you too much, Joe. They last
whatever.
Jedi'd you.
No, that fucking Walking Dead. I didn't say anything about Star Wars.
Oh,
The Walking Dead in it. Like they were like, we need to worry about the drama of this kind of a world and not the actual.
I just meant by subverting expectations. Like
yeah. Well, and listen, to go off that Walking Dead comment, it's like the thing that made the character drama really, really good and intense in The Walking Dead was because in the first several seasons, like you said, the peril, the danger of the world was so strongly emphasized that you felt the characters' need to want to live, to want to save people, to hold on to their families and their relationships. Because if it was like the real world and you found out your wife was screwing some other guy, you'd be done, okay? You'd be done. You'd be talking divorce. You'd be talking weekend hours and all that shit. You wouldn't be trying to save it, but because it's the end of the world and the world is dangerous and the only way to survive is together, they had this conflict, and that's what made it interesting. And that's what made it.
And it forgave a lot. It forgave a lot of bad storytelling at times too, because you actually felt that fear and care about the characters, and felt they were always in this world, and that drove some of the character motivations and growth within like the relationships on the show. Even if the storytelling wasn't always top notch, it was when they slowed things down, you started to notice it more, notice the holes more on The Walking Dead. Because,
for example,
or in this
Carol.
show as well. Yeah, Carol's a perfect example of that.
Her character lives life as an abused woman. Apocalypse doesn't happen. She continues. So you want to focus it just on like the drama of relationships. Carol's arc never changes. She remains almost that abused woman throughout. But because she has to fight and she has to live and she has to do all these things because of the zombies, she's allowed to find strength and find power and find a new arc for her, right?
And
it removed all that.
You can just hear the bottles clinking around at Joe's house. Sorry.
Well, and I was just gonna say, so it's like what I mean when we've said it a bunch, but it's like what I mean when we talk about like the little character moments. It's like those things are what build tension. It's the soft glances, it's the little expressions, the accidental slip up. I mean, if they had just even once during a really dangerous scene or something like that have Joel accidentally call Ellie Sarah once, it would have developed this whole she's my daughter thing.
Very good point.
Whole new level, because we already saw it when that moment when the weird heart race thing, when Joel saw some girl who kind of looked like his daughter from behind, you know what I mean, in Wyoming or wherever they were. So it's like we saw that. Had there been a moment where he was just talking to Ellie about the situation, or it slipped out and he called her Sarah, that also could have helped build
They
it up.
did something like that in Cobra Kai, and it was very powerful.
But in this, they call her baby girl like he did Sarah when Sarah was dying, and it felt forced.
But Joe, in Cobra Kai, they did it with Miguel, when Miguel's helping Johnny into bed, and he like calls Miguel Robbie, and Miguel's like, "You're my." He's like, "Oh, you think of me as your son," and blah blah blah. And he's like, "Yes, Robbie."
Yeah, different circumstance.
But it's a similar
around it, same thing. Yeah,
similar kind of thing.
I was just thinking about like it was Robbie hearing it from him, who has a problem. Yeah. She doesn't have a problem with Sarah, and would like to hear probably her called Sarah.
It was even worse in the Cobra Kai situation because of Miguel and Robbie's relationship. I get that.
Yeah,
like Ellie surviving David on her own, Tommy living in a safe community. No need to saving, him, or even the end when Joel saved the Fireflies. I mean, not saved the Fireflies, but, kills all the Fireflies.
No, he saved them. He was saving them with that gun.
subvert the expectations of the story. But instead of relying on those subversions that make the story so iconic, they subverted the expectation that this is a dangerous world filled with infected, making Joe's choice matter. So I don't know. I just curious on your thoughts. I know I sort of went off there because I'm trying to fit it all in the time, but let me know your thoughts.
Sorry, just can I say something?
Oh, go. Yeah, definitely go.
My brain.
Oh, thank you so much, Maddie. Thank you so much.
Tracy, I think it was Tracy said this earlier. It's like if you had also shown more action, right? You show the intensity and like how violent this world is, right? It would prove the need to get this cure. It would show exactly what she was talking about. It's like, well, when there's not that much of a threat from the dead, then why are we worried so much about a cure when we can manage it? It's like, yeah, it needs to seem like unmitigated, unbridled. You're dealing with hordes, you're dealing with clickers. It's like if we don't find a cure, then this world surely is doomed, okay? But the way that they set it up now, it's kind of like The Walking Dead in the last few seasons, which is like the walkers or the zombies or whatever and the clickers are incidental. They are like a very bad, it's like the occasional rain shower. It's like, okay, I can just stand underneath an awning and not get wet.
As Dolphin Time says in the live chat, I forgot that the zombies even exist right here. This is from our good buddy. Last couple of voicemails here. Hey, let's go.
In fact, here's a point. Before you get to that, you forget the zombies even exist. They're not zombies. They're clickers. They're walkers. They're bloaters. They're stalkers. They're not. And because they have removed them from this series, that's what they are. That's what they are to fucking everybody in the fucking world. They're zombies.
They're just another. They're just another zombie.
Zombie show.
Yeah, it's just another zombie show. And that's why they're not showing it, because they're just sort of yada-yadaing the zombie part of it and being like, they're just zombies. There's no need to get into the specifics of it because we don't want to create our own universe. We're just going to base it off what people already know about a zombie apocalypse world instead of showing us what's different about this zombie apocalypse world.
No, they showed us in episode 2 with "Don't Step on a Tendril."
Exactly, because it will attract. No, that only happens in Boston, Joe. Remember?
All right, sorry. Don't step on a Boston.
Boston.
Your tendril from Boston.
From Boston.
Gentlemen, how are we doing today? For Phil, I wanted to know, are we gonna see you more in the future?
No.
This is probably going to be the last time I see you for a while.
This is the last time.
Because I don't know what else is going to be in the future that you might cover. The only thing I can think of that you might touch is Succession.
No,
I don't
probably
remember
not.
what you said last week. If you do it, I'll watch
I'm going to do some doo-doo.
I'm struggling to binge it.
No, I think probably the next show that we'll talk about on this channel will probably be From, when that comes out. And I think that comes out
History of the World
in April.
Part 2.
No, I'm not talking.
Gunsmoke.
I'm not talking
History
about that.
of the World Part 2.
But I'm also going to be doing a couple of classic series. Matt and I.
It's a 4-part limited series.
Yeah, it's bad. Have
you seen it?
Yes, it's horrible. It's trash. It's fucking trash. The funniest parts are when Mel Brooks is actually on screen introducing the sketches, and his voiceovers is kind of funny because
we should do History of the World Part 1.
He steals good timing. But what was it?
So we should do History of the World Part 1.
But we'll be probably doing some older stuff and while we're waiting for the next show. But I'll definitely be covering From whenever friggin' Apple Plus show. I'm going to be doing a podcast on, and maybe Joe will join me, on Shrinking. I want to talk about the last couple of episodes of that show. I'm really enjoying it enough to want to talk about it.
It's really good. I haven't seen Friday's episode.
But I might do a weekly, go back and do a weekly roundabout kind of thing, and have Joe on, have him trash me for my Mandalorian love, and talk about Shrinking, and talk about a couple of other shows that we're watching that particular week that the other one isn't. But a couple of things leading up to it, but we'll find some new shows soon. The Boys will be coming back at some point. We're going to do The Boys week to week. Invincible will be back at the end of this year at some point. Cobra Kai is coming back for its last season. Those are all shows we'll be covering this year. Not to mention some new ones that pop up and some live events. If they do another live musical, Joe will come by and we'll do a live stream of it.
Another one, David Scott something.
I mean, we might have done the Oscars tonight if we weren't doing a podcast. So
I don't watch the Oscars.
Neither do I really. Area code. This is our last caller of the night, and then we get a couple of texts. Area code 678.
Phil, Joe, fucking David. What's up? It's Tom P.
Tom
I'm
P.
a- man.
No, it's not the last
Calling
call.
in,
We got to do Tracy.
Oh, Tracy's calls from last week. Yes, we do.
Fucking so watch the show tonight. My take on it is kind of I've just never seen a finale for a zombie show that had 0 zombies.
There's
So
one.
I played this game through a ton
Where?
of times back in the day. It's an incredible game. I was looking forward to
The one I'm going to play the rest of your message before we let Joe rant because I am right. There was one, the one that killed Ellie's mom.
Right, Mama.
this show adaptation, and I am pretty disappointed, but that's also probably because I played the game. So I kind of look at it. I know you guys reviewed The Walking Dead. I was following you guys forever with that. So
I thought he was about to say I've reviewed The Walking Dead. I fell asleep to you guys. Like you guys are boring. No.
when I was watching Walking Dead, I went back and I read the comics, and for at least the first 5 seasons of the show, I actually thought the show fleshed out the comics way better than the
agree.
source material. So I was kind of thinking when HBO would pick up a video game, they would flesh out that game. And it seems like they just made it exponentially worse. And I know it's kind of lame because if you didn't play the video game, you probably wouldn't care about any of this.
Right.
It's just so bizarre to me that you would take a zombie game and pretty much take the zombies out of it and pretty much everything. And when you go online, you just Google The Last of Us. There's 1 million articles written by every paper and everything, and it's all oh, The Last of Us adapted a game and they made it less violent, and here's why that's awesome. Here's why that's brave. Here's why
That's all
cool.
smoke for the
And
fuckers.
I'd
That's
even
all
give it to
bullshit.
them
That's what he's saying.
that they wanted to let's say focus on the story and less violence. But the truth is, if you play that game, and I know Joe said this, the game actually even does better with the story part.
It does.
So I just don't quite understand why even adapting at all. It's almost like I've seen this now, and I'm now just wanting to see it be done again better. I don't know. It was pretty disappointing to me. But love you guys. Appreciate y'all doing what you do.
So that leads into Joe, and then we'll go to David and then myself. What is your rating for this episode and this season?
6.5 both.
6.5 for the episode, 6.5 for the entire season?
Yeah.
Okay, David?
I'm going to do 7 for the... Well, hold on.
We'll go to David last. Let me think about it. I'm gonna do for this particular episode a 7, and for the season as a whole, just watching the story, I'd say 7.5, 7.5, a C plus C ish.
I'm just gonna go 7 across. Yeah, but that's only because even though I haven't played the game, I know enough through kind of the internet and osmosis and stuff like that to be disappointed. You know what I mean? So
my thing about it, I agree with you, David, about that. But my thing, I guess, the reason why I give it a little bit higher, and I guess maybe why we're both, or while I'm doing a little, is I think the high points of this season were very high. When it was good, it was excellent. The first 2 episodes, in the first 3 episodes, it's easy to forget. Even Joe, we go back and rewind on this podcast, people were saying, this is Joe happy? We've never seen Joe this happy before.
Right, but that doesn't last too long. And by the time we're into our 3rd podcast, I'm asking to go back and rewind what I thought of a lot of the
maybe a little bit, but what I'm saying is those high points, those were the high enough points in the season that brings the grade up to a 7.5 from your 6.5 for me.
Here's what I say about this is it's just I'm not insulting anybody who watches it this way, but it is a difference of how we watch things. As an actor and a filmmaker, I watch things a lot more with a critical eye, and I know how things are made, and I've worked on shows and movies and stuff, and so it's just I know when things can be improved, and I know when certain roles have screwed up, and I know when budget starts to play into a factor. Most people don't watch it that way, okay? most people don't go, oh, is that guy in the background of House of Dragon, is he wearing plastic? Because that guy looks plastic, and the guy in the foreground looks like real metal. Like, nobody thinks that except me.
See, I think exactly like David thinks, only I don't know shit.
Well, and here's the thing, though, is that I make this joke about people with like object permanence, and I'm not saying that about this, but I'm saying that if you just watch episodes week to week, almost like it's an episodic, like every episode stands by itself, then sure, you might rate this a little bit higher. You might even like it, okay? And if you love Pedro Pascal and you love Bella Ramsey, you might just love it, okay? Having said that, though, as somebody who understands the art of storytelling and understands that these episodes have to go somewhere and build to a point, and when it doesn't achieve that, even the smallest point on the run, let's say there's 3 or 4 points, like 4 would be all of them, and you would be like A++ prestige television. 3 is high up there, 2 is middling, you know what I mean? And then 1 is just like the bare minimum. They are crawling to get to 1. They're not even getting close to the top.
Yeah.
And it's like, and as people who played this game, it's one of the highest rated games in video game history across the board. From people who don't even like zombie games, they love this game.
Yeah, they speak about this game being special with it.
Yeah, so it's like, if you just watch it week to week, kind of with like a mind of like a TikToker, like, oh, it doesn't really matter what happened 60 seconds ago because this is a new 60 seconds. It's like, well, then you'll enjoy it a lot more than I will. But for people who want to,
David, you're giving credit. It's 15 seconds now.
Oh.
It's gone down. It's gone down. You need to be quicker. So, I want to give a couple scores. Oltarf 6 of 10. Slim 6 of and I agree with pretty much everything you were saying there, David, as well. 6 out of 10. A whole thing 1 to 3 or 7 and 7, 8, 9 and 10s, but 4 through 6 were 3 out of 10s to get that score.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I felt like it started really good. And then as we got into this, as the season started going, like, it came down at the hill. It wasn't like off a cliff like a roller coaster, but it was steadily just downhill, and not in any kind of good way like a roller coaster would be, but like, just like, it was like bunny slope downhill time. But you've been skiing black diamonds for the last.
It was a little bunny slope, and John Haymaker's 60 is long for David is lucky, and you should definitely check out his TikToks. He does slightly longer than normal, but yeah, the usual TikTok's probably about like 10 to 15 seconds. Funny. Let's
he's got some talent on that.
Let's listen to let's end things off here with Tracy G's messages from last week about her opinions on last week's episode, an episode that, so let's see if from what she says we can tell if Joe was liking it last week. Let's see if she calls, because we don't know how Tracy felt about last week's episode. Let's see. Anthony says, Romeo Anthony says, love you guys, but you are insane. Masterpiece of a season. Hey, I gave it a 7.5.
Hey, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. That's how it goes with anything. It doesn't matter if your team in the basketball game is up 80 points at halftime. If you lose, you lost. Okay, that's the reality.
Hey, yeah, you can go 18-0, but you don't win that 19th game. You're the fucking 2008 Patriots, and nobody gives a fuck.
Stop internally cursing Eli Manning. Okay, here we go. Eric.
2007, 2008, something like
Tracy G.
Hey, Phil and Joe. Hey, Chat. This is Tracy G calling from Chicago. So I just wanted to give my thoughts on this episode. So for this episode with Joel and Ellie, I actually honestly really thought that this episode was probably, I would say, the worst episode of the season. I'm really at this point just not a fan of the show. I think it's the worst adaptation. And we have some pretty sucky ones, including that Resident Evil stuff that came out on Netflix this season. But the reason...
Oh, actually, that's our messages.
Yeah, yep.
Those are our messages from
earlier
tonight. I'm sorry, Tracy G. I guess I just don't want to play your messages from last week. I didn't scroll down far enough. I just have your message.
I want to play.
No, I want to play them. Here we go.
How you feeling?
I mean that I kept screwing up. I'm consistently screwing up.
Use a screw up. Use a stone up.
This is Tracy G from Chicago. I'm leaving my name and where I'm from, and this is not my first time calling. But I just wanted to provide some insight on this week's episode. First, I wanted to tell Phil, you were absolutely correct from last week. I was so defeated from last week's episode. Like, it really wasn't a good episode. What last week's episode showed improved to me.
Right, this is her. No, 8.
No, she
7.
called
7.
for episode 8. She's talking about
the DLC
her defeat from episode 7.
Exactly. Her defeat
that
is
Phil called on from her comments. Yeah.
Was that it's a lot of fake YouTubers out here. Like, so fake. They're doing good reviews for episode 7 and then turning off the comments because they don't want to hear what people really have to say. So there's a lot of YouTubers channels that I have.
I do want to do an equivalent of the Nerd Crew podcast at some point in time. Just like, oh my God, we love The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is amazing. Oh my God.
Well, if they just want endlessly good reviews about The Last of Us, well, that's just what they're.
This show is stupendous.
Subscribe to. I am so glad that you and Joe, you all keep it.
You love it, Joe. You love it. You're amazing.
$1.50 with your reviews.
We're the most fair reviewers ever.
You know what? No, stop right there. We are fair. We are fair. And I'm going to tell you, what's not fair is the fact that these studios, these writers, these producers decide that we are all okay with eating the same fucking oatmeal without fucking any kind of flavoring every goddamn day. And that's what they do when they put these fucking tropes, like, and then say, oh, but this is great acting around this trope, or whatever the fucking case be. Like, you give us those same tropes, you're giving us the same. That's not. Never mind.
No. I was flashing your trope symbol.
It's true. It's true though. Like, she's right.
You're skating.
Okay, so
what's that?
I was gonna say, like, we've said it a bunch of times, but it's like, yeah, you're skating too much on name recognition and kind of hot actors at the moment, more than focusing on the show just standing on its own 2 feet, and just having a substantive nature to it on the face of it. Okay, like, at first you started well, okay, because you had a lot of hype going behind it, you had a lot of goodwill. I remember even Joe had issues even with the first episode, but he had a lot of goodwill going towards it, going, it's building, I feel something, if what I think is coming, it's going to be whatever. And then they didn't deliver on those things. And so it doesn't matter how much you hype something up, because once eventually the hype dies down, that's when you start getting these 2.5-hour videos from Mahler about Game of Thrones season 8 just tearing at a new asshole. Okay, because
objectively it's horrible. Now subjectively we can look at this. I can't do a Mahler. I can't do a Mahler voice.
You got people like Alt Shift X rolling their eyes at Game of Thrones, and he made his bones coming up with that stuff. Yeah. My name is The Walking David on here, and I hate The Walking Dead now. So it's like nothing is guaranteed, people, just because of your name recognition.
Look at me. Look at the last 7 years of me talking about that fucking series. Look at them, and look at I got fucking graded editions, autographed editions of fucking this series,
and
sitting behind me. I love it.
And I will go to my side.
Loved it.
I had to sit through two.
Oh God, it's dark.
I had to sit through 2 horrible seasons of Picard to watch the first episodes of season 3 and start crying because it's actually good.
Is it? I haven't watched. Oh, I haven't watched it.
It's good. It's fucking good. It's good.
I watched the first episode.
I might talk about that show too.
I've seen Q.
This isn't the Q season.
No, season 2 was Q season. I turned that episode off.
Yeah, it's awful.
Because it's an 8-episode.
Season 2 is the worst. Season 1 ended really shitty, but started okay. Season 2 started okay too. But this one, the first 4 episodes, especially episodes 3 and 4, are like I'm actually watching Star Trek. Anyways, I might talk about that show too. Let's get back to Tracy's message and end this freaking thing.
This episode, this was actually pretty sucky, just like the rest of the episodes from this season, with the exclusion of.
I've said this before, but I love how you can never tell. Like Tracy, like she could have said
She knows
like,
what she's doing.
She could have said pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. She knows timing. She understands the timing.
Episode 5. This is a video game adaptation, and in the video game, it's an apocalyptic video game with fungi, monsters, or whatever. They have literally taken out all of that to tell a story, which is not a damn Emmy award-winning story. Like, real talk, this is freaking Logan, and Logan is better. So I guess if I want to watch the action,
Don't set Joe off. He's like the one person on earth that hates Logan.
or whatever, I can just put on Logan, which I'm probably going to do. This does not give me
Logan and Birdman are your two worst takes.
any optimism for season 2. I still haven't even finished that game because it sort of pacing-wise got a little bit too slow in some parts. But this does not give me high hopes for season 2.
Birdman's awesome. Go fuck yourself.
Birdman
Hey,
is a
you
piece
lost
of
me at
fucking
True.
trash. No, I know, because that movie sucks too, and I never saw it. I just know it sucks.
Show him the
true.
Is the Cloud Atlas? Is that what that is?
That's what Rick and Morty says it's from. I have no fucking idea, but yeah, they say it's from Cloud Atlas.
And
That's where I got it from. The True
and
True.
one more message from Tracy G, and then we're gonna call it an evening.
I would not know that whatsoever if it weren't for Rick and Morty.
Hey, Phil and Joe. This is Tracy G again. This is my second call. I have more thoughts. Okay, so for this episode, this is like one of the best parts of the game for me. And they took out so much that would have shown like the chemistry between Ellie and David to make it worthwhile with her killing him. I didn't sense any tension when it came to them. Like, David character, he was pretty good. They should have gave him more to do, but it just seems like him and Ellie had a chemistry. They went through some stuff in the game, which
they did.
I just don't know. Like,
Stop
HBO.
her. I was saying this last week too. They did go through stuff in the game. When he comes across the deer and they have that conversation, he sends Troy Baker over to go get the meds and then come back. There's a whole bunch of action that goes on there where they have to fight together against runners. Yeah, right?
You did it.
Right, exactly. Against clickers, against a bloater, and it's very much this kind of bonding that Joel and Ellie are going through in the entire game, having to trust each other that if one is coming after you, you're going to get it. If one's coming after him, you're going to get it, because you need each other to be able to fight them all off together. If one of you dies, right? So like, that's the kind of shit that you and Joel go through the whole entire game. And then that's the shit you're put in a position with this fucking guy, David. And he doesn't drop that bomb on you yet, that he knows exactly who the fuck you are, and you guys killed some of his fucking people.
He holds that.
And so after you go through all that, and not only that, but when the shit goes down, you find out that the time you spent with him talking beforehand, he still had a fucking piece on him and never fucking pulled it on you.
Now just to answer Maddie Man's question, if you want to check that out, Joe and I did do a review a couple of years ago. You can find it on the channel. Of our review of all the X-Men movies, and you can get Joe's full review and thoughts on Logan.
They threw a lot of money at this project, and it seems like it all went into production. They didn't focus on any stunt choreographers to help with action scenes or to even write good action scenes. Like, I literally cannot believe they said, hey, we got this fantastic video game that everybody in the pretty much in the gaming industry really, really loves. They love the action. They just think it's phenomenal. Hey, let's do a show. Let's take out all the action and let's focus on the character. And the story is just not tense. There has been no tense.
Let's not focus on the characters. Let's focus on all the other characters, not our main characters.
Yeah.
We're going to take the focus off of them. They're not going to be That's
there's
the
a
trick
whole
they're playing on you here, is that these characters that you've been told are
Joe,
your main
just
characters in
I
the story
don't want to,
aren't.
in threat to make this go on even longer, I just want to say I think what they've decided, and I don't agree with it because of people like David and I that are watching it for the first time, is they're accepting that the whole game is about Ellie and Joel, so they don't need to establish that on the show. They can just introduce it, do the more world building thing, but what they don't get is a show is like an organic life onto itself, and it doesn't matter what the game is. You need to judge the show on the show itself, and if you don't give that same information, as David was talking with like script structure and all that stuff, if you don't inform the same level of detail and character that you do in the game, it seems hollow. That's why at the beginning of everything, I said this was a very well put together episode, but for some reason I found myself lacking caring, and that's because I didn't know them well enough for their thing at the end to emotionally affect me as much as it should. Even though I will argue, I still think it was Ellie and Joel. I still think it was done well structurally in what I saw, but I didn't feel it enough.
Because what was missing,
it's like Joe Satriani versus Jimmy Page. When he could, I can hear Joe Satriani do that. I'm not as affected as Jimmy Page being sloppy.
Because you don't have Robert Plant singing.
No, I'm talking about a guitar album, just the guitar style of someone that's more emotion in their playing rather than technical or something. Like okay. I would rather something be more sloppy and emotional.
And what you're missing,
Anyway,
you get all of that if you kept all of that, but still added the other 4 episodes that many callers have mentioned,
possibly
of action.
David, you wanted to jump in for a second.
Bond.
Well, I agree with you both, but I was just gonna say that.
Too safe, David.
Good answer.
Too safe.
Good answer.
Well, it's one of those things that got thrown through a loop because I didn't think at that point Phil was gonna be like, "All right, go ahead."
I saw that you.
What are we talking about?
I saw that you interjected, and Joe and I started going back and forth again. So I'm like, I gotta get David in
here.
No,
you're good. You're good. But that vodka's making my faculties a little slower. So, anyways, what I was going to say is that it's like, God, I feel like we've said it so many times in just 50 different ways. It's just, shows, like well-written shows, you talk about over the water cooler, but the problem is that you find people who are watching this show and still talking about the game.
Yeah.
In order to keep their interest afloat. They're going like, okay, well, the game had this cool scene that usually this would happen right here. So instead of them talking about that awesome scene that took place in the show, they're going, hey, the show was kind of meh, but there was an awesome version of this in the game. That where in the game she drowns and all this stuff. And I'm just like, and as someone who hasn't played the game, I'm going, why the fuck wasn't that in there? And then you, as people who've played the game, you're going, why the fuck wasn't that in there? And then people who haven't played the games at all, who are just sycophants for these things, they just are kissing the ass of this show and they can see no fault in it. But I'm sorry, if you like this show and you can't see any fault in the storytelling, then to not insult you, I will just say you need to watch better television.
And here's the thing too.
Watch Mindhunters.
And here's the thing too. You can't just go back.
Watch something Aaron Sorkin wrote.
You can't go back and watch the cutscenes. I did that with my brother-in-law at the beginning of the fall, before he went back down to Florida. I put it on and I watched, like, he had to go to sleep about halfway through all the cutscenes. But they're in the gameplay. One of the things that makes the game so great is there is seamless movement and cutscenes within the action that it's such minuscule and dialogue things and moments that inform you to the next cutscene that are important, that are missing. So even when you do watch just the cutscenes, you're going to see a lot of familiar scenes in the show and more, but there's still stuff missing.
I hear what both of you guys are saying, and I just want to offer the alternative perspective that to be an alternative perspective, but just know the truth of the matter of, I agree that this was a very flawed season, but its entertaining parts overall entertained me, even though I felt like I was watching a flawed show in the storytelling. It's because of the acting, because of the cinematography, because of some of the audio choices, some of the intensity moments when they chose to do those moments, like not Kansas City with Joe's favorite character, but the explosion of the walkers and seeing the one bloater in that scene that they almost didn't put in because they didn't think they needed it. But yeah, you needed it. You needed more of that stuff to back up what Joe was saying. But overall, I had a good time watching this show. But it wasn't dumb enough for me to want to watch it in a dumb, crazy, over-the-top way, and it wasn't
Phil, I've watched every episode 3 times.
And it wasn't dramatically sound enough for me to not watch it with a critical eye. So it was somewhere in the middle. What you guys said is very similar, or it reminds me somewhere in the middle of when The Walking Dead was transitioning from okay to crappy. And it was when it still had a few great moments here and there, like Rick biting someone's face off, but everything after Alexandria was kind of crap. Anyways, guys, thank you, Walking David. Make sure you follow The Walking David on TikTok and check out his show. Joe and I will be back next week to talk some Last of Us spoilers for season 2 and some of our predictions and giving our overall reissue thoughts of the season as a whole. I'm going to try to rewatch it, and we might be on earlier next week. We may try to get in before Joe picks up Katie.
Oh hell yeah, let's get on at like
7:30, 8 o'clock. 7. Oh, okay. 7 p.m. on Sunday. I think I could do 7.
I want to, because 7. She'll be texting me by 10 to come pick her up.
Okay, so we'll do.
That gives us a good 3 hours.
7 or a little earlier next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Last of Us spoiler show. Please join for that one. David, Joe, thank you so much. Actually, we should probably wait 9 more minutes to hit the 4 hours. No, I'm kidding. Talk to you guys next
time.
I
can stretch this fucking conversation out.
You have a few more rants in you. I
do.
You're not ready.
There's enough to talk about.
You're still going. You're still not.
Recap. It was a fun recap and review.
You're still not ready to admit you liked last week's episode. Is really what it comes down to. Because you did. You totally liked it.
Oh, come on.
Oh, you're full of shit. What the fuck?
Come on now.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, what the fuck? No. Oh my God. Pardon my take. Yeah, pardon my take. Grumble, grumble. Let's each take a side.
Oh, dude, check out Ted Lasso. That's just fucking awesome.
I haven't watched it yet. I keep wanting to watch it, especially now that I'm like more into the Apple Plus stuff. I definitely like the creative team did Shrinking as does. It's the same exact creative team, I believe, does both shows. Scrubs and Scrubs Shrinking in this I believe.
No, but this is good. It took like an episode to like. I didn't dislike the first episode, so I watched episode 2, and it just keeps getting.
It's better. Like that Scrubs comedy drama shit. Like it's right.
No, yeah, but yes.
More comedy.
Yes.
Okay, don't tell me.
No, not the Scrubs. Scrubs is very slapsticky, right? Like
in the end, the first few seasons are more dramedy type stuff. It gets seasons 5 and 6 of Scrubs, and then it gets more serious again towards the end. But they had a couple.
I really can't. I have a tough time watching that show now.
No, I hear ya. I don't. It's one of my go to bed shows that I put on at night before I go to bed and stuff.
Mine right now is Three's Company.
Three's Company. I go with that. Schitt's Creek. I kind of put on Arrested Development.
My go-to comfort show is Frasier.
Nice.
I've definitely had years of Frasier.
I've been there.
That theme song is so beautiful when you're going to bed. Oh my God.
Dude, that's a great show.
Yeah. By the way, you're welcome everyone for including the after show. We'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.